my skin. You're all that's on my mind. It's finally sinking in. You're it. I know you're feeling different when you're stressed out, but even with no makeup you still stand out. Cause no one makes me feel the way you do now, like you do now. Way that you move your body, you make it look like a hobby. Every time that you touch me, it's electricity. Things we discovered underneath last night's covers. Everything came so easy, it's electricity. Electricity. It's electricity. Electricity. It's electricity. The way that you move your body, it make it look like a hobby. Every time that you touch me, it's electricity. Things we discovered underneath last night's covers. Everything came so easy. It's electricity. Electricity. It's electricity. You move your body. Electricity. You move your body. It's electricity. Am I wasting time? 'Cause I'm already gone. So long, can you stay the night? 'Cause you're the thing I want. I know you're feeling different when you're stressed out, but even with no makeup you still stand out. 'Cause no one makes me feel the way you do now, like you do now. The way that you move your body, you make it look like a hobby. Every time that you touch me, it's electricity. Things we discovered underneath last night's covers. Everything came so easy. It's electricity. Electricity. my skin. You're all that's on my mind. It's finally sinking in. You're it. I know you're feeling different when you're stressed out, but even with no makeup you still stand out. Cause no one makes me feel the way you do now. Like you do now. The way that you move your body, you make it look like a hobby. Every time that you touch me, it's electricity. Things we discovered underneath last night's covers. Everything came so easy, it's electricity. The way that you move your body, you make it look like a hobby. Every time that you touch me, it's electricity. Things we discovered underneath last night's covers. Everything came so easy, it's electricity. Electricity. It's electricity. You move your body. Electricity. You move your body. It's electricity. 'cause you're the thing I want. I know you're feeling different when you're stressed out, but even with no makeup you still stand out. 'Cause no one makes me feel the way you do now, like you do now. The way that you move your body, you make it look like a hobby. Every time that you touch me, it's electricity. Things we discovered underneath last night's covers. Everything came so easy. It's electricity. Electricity. Whoa. It's electricity. Electricity. It's electricity. When it's late at night, I feel you on my skin. My skin, you're all that's on my mind. It's finally sinking in. You're it. I know you're feeling different when you're stressed out, but even with no makeup you still stand out. 'Cause no one makes me feel the way you do now, like you do now. The way that you move your body, you make it look like a hobby. Every time that you touch me, it's electricity. Things we discovered underneath last night's covers. Everything came so easy. It's electricity. Electricity. It's electricity. Electricity. It's electricity. The way that you move your body, you make it look like a hobby. Every time that you touch me, it's electricity. Things we discovered underneath last night's covers. Everything came so easy. It's electricity. Electricity. It's electricity. You move your body. Electricity. You move your body. It's electricity. just in time, 'cause I'm already gone. So long, can you stay the night? 'Cause you're the thing I want. I know you're feeling different when you're stressed out, but even with no makeup you still stand out. 'Cause no one makes me feel the way you do now, like you do now. The way that you move your body, you make it look like a hobby. Every time that you touch me, it's electricity. Things we discovered underneath last night's covers. Everything came so easy. It's electricity. Electricity. Whoa. It's electricity. Electricity. It's electricity. When it's late at night, I feel you on my skin. My skin, you're all that's on my mind. It's finally sinking in. You're it. I know you're feeling different when you're stressed out, but even with no makeup you still stand out. 'Cause no one makes me feel the way you do now, like you do now. The way that you move your body, you make it look like a hobby. Every time that you touch me, it's electricity. Things we discovered underneath last night's covers. Everything came so easy. It's electricity. Electricity. Oh, it's electricity. Electricity. It's electricity. The way that you move your body, you make it look like a hobby. Every time that you touch me, it's electricity. Things we discovered underneath last night's covers. Everything came so easy. It's electricity. Electricity. It's electricity. You move your body. Electricity. You move your body. It's electricity.
Welcome one and all back to the qualifiers for the Kuala Lumpur event for ESL 1, and we're going to be seeing the first elimination game of the day as Fort Studios, having taken a loss in the upper bracket, take on Team Rocket, who also took a tumble. To be fair, not too surprising that somebody falls out of trouble or gets themselves into a dangerous situation like Team Rocket. Nonetheless, only one of these squads can progress, only one of them has hope to still get to KL. Only one of them can show their true Dota going into the next 2 days. My name is Sneh and I'm joined by ET for the final series of the day. Good sir, Elimination Dota, always a very sad day. Before we even get into the analysis of this, who do you want to win? What does your heart tell you about the upcoming matchup?
I mean, you can't not root for Fart Studios. You gotta give them some hope. At the same time, though, I am getting pulled in two different directions because you've got ARMS, you've got RRL, you've got these NA players that have played for such a long time versus the memers, the guys who aren't taking it too seriously, but at the same time, are they taking it seriously? Do I want to see them continue? Of course I want to see Fart Studios continue. I think they're a team that can definitely show their stuff when they want to, but also lose hilariously quickly. They're a squad that almost barely got into the CQ in the first place, so do they deserve to continue? Maybe not. Do I want to see them continue? Kinda. It'd be fun. It certainly would be fun. But they've got kind of a tall order here. They were that last team to qualify into the CQ, so already any other opponent is, at least on paper, going to be a little bit better at them, a little bit more organized, and we'll see. Are we going to get Formidas's Fart Studios, or are we going to get very convincing, very good Dota Fart Studios? We don't know until we get into the lobby.
You did make a point earlier today when we were watching them play up against CSM. The fact that if you're going to be going into a close qualifier after a difficult run in the OQs, probably best to play the best opposition, learn from them immediately, and see how quickly you can adapt. So in the event they'd be able to take on lessons within the last few hours from their game, we could see some good results from them. But like you say, Team Rocket, these are players that have been around the block, been around the scene, have eliminated many a quote-unquote fun stack in several qualifiers in the past. So it's going to be a fun game of Dota to watch and witness. And it's just been weird though, because we just had 2 O's the entire time pretty much. Is this going to be different? Like, in either direction? Is it maybe going to go 2-1, or are you expecting another clean sweep?
I'll be honest, I'm not going in either direction. I think we're going to go to a game 3. I think it's going to be weird. I think somebody's going to lose, and then it's going to be that simple. Game 1's going to be a wash, game 2's going to go 58 minutes, and then game 3 will be over in 15. And then who wins, who will lose, I don't know. We'll have to see. But that's where Fart Studios, no more tumbles in the draft. They have to really think things through, make sure they have a good idea coming in, going out, not getting too countered by just these direct hero matchups. It's going to make it seem a whole lot better. Annihilate, thankfully, is not going to get bullied by Braille any longer, but at the same time, he's got to strut his stuff. He's got to do something. He's got to prove why he is an NA mainstay, because he's just been getting shut down every single game.
Yep. Let's hope he can actually play Dota this time around. Let's hope they can pick good heroes. And I'm kind of sad you mentioned this long game possibility. I remember at the beginning of the year, I was doing some NA Dota with Fear, and many times we left the studio at 7, 8 a.m. because of absurdly long NA games. So Fear, please, bro. I need some bedtime. It's already 2 a.m. in the morning. But let's see what happens in the draft, ET. Team Rocket playing on the Radiant side. We have Fort Studios who have second pick. So yet again, we have Radiant first pick for a squad. Kind of atypical. But this time around, one thing that has changed from the last series we witnessed, no Chen being banned out. Some of the broken stuff is gone. No Magnus, no Dawnbreaker, no CK. I imagine there's going to be banning out of a Treant Protector. But they also removed the Fear Lone Druid. You played it twice earlier today. Played it yesterday as well. What do you make of the strength of Lone Druid overall? Does it warrant a first phase ban?
It's certainly team specific, and I think versus Fart Studios, who also has Jaeger, who played it during the entirety of the OQs, you end up landing on 2 different players. So it feels a little bit more valuable, but typically it's not worth that first phase ban. It's where you'd usually see an Enchantress, a Grimstroke, those heroes thrown away beforehand, but maybe that means that there's going to be an interesting first pick coming out of Team Rocket. I definitely am getting the vibe that Team Rocket's just going to first pick maybe a Weaver, and then we see another Grimstroke come through from the returning team. Just something with a little bit more setup. I think Fart Studios got kind of picked apart by TSM. We really didn't get to see much of anything from them. But that's where Team Rocket, they played a long game versus Bambi's Soy. They drug it out of them. It was not an easy victory. They were clawing back. They were constantly playing. And what they did is just first pick Muerta. And there's no Muerta ban here. So if they want to, just immediately go with another ban into the pick. That could be their kind of magic here, if that's what they want to go for. Or I think just lead with the Pugna, which is a hero that Team Rocket's been playing the entire OQ, a hero that we didn't really get to see played by any of the other teams today, but just gives you that tempo, gives somebody to poke and prod at that mid tower, wins at least one of your lanes, is just such a fearsome trader. Definitely what you want coming into an elimination best of 3. You want to be in the best of 3, you want to be happy, you don't want to be upset, you don't want to get tilted by bad lane matchups, especially not in NA. You want to keep your mind as clear as possible for as long as possible.
Love how your constant refrain is, in NA, please don't tilt. That's the primary key to losing games. Team Rocket will remove the Kunkka, a hero that can make many a man tilt, given how awful it is to play against. Removed from the game, so the OP stuff is Weaver, Dazzle, AA. They go for the AA. It's kind of weird to go for AA just first overall, when there are heroes like Weaver in the pool, because, you know, as good as AA can be, Weaver eats this hero alive. My goodness, like, we've already seen how good Weaver can be into, like, early lone druid picks. If this is a fear Weaver, you know, he's had experience at TIs being able to gobble up these supports on this annoying little bug.
No, it's really good pick, and I think that's where Rocket, they take the AA to preempt those healer-esque heroes, but you've also banned out the CK yourself. You ban out the LD yourself. It's where usually Fart Studios should be forced into a position where they are the ones having to ban those heroes, and they simply don't, and then they get Treant because it sneaks through. Now, this is the Fart Studios I can get behind, and maybe Team Rocket's throwing them a little bit of a bone here, but, I mean, you have arguably the best safe lane in the game now. If they don't win that lane, then I don't know if there's much more hope for Fart Studios. This is your free ticket.
Also, wait, hold on. ET, don't you find it unfair that Tree Heal has instances rather than just flat heal? That feels a bit busted to me. It's so dumb. Stupid. Like, it literally absorbs Ice Blast. Like, it just takes away the whole thing. It's very frustrating. But like you say, best safe lane in the game. This is super, super strong. The only way it could even get better is if you added some tag team into it. But of course, Team Rocket have banned that out already. Nonetheless, feels very good. And we look at these heroes from Rocket. Dark Willow gets picked up. Yes, there's some team fight. Yes, there's some laning prowess. But what there isn't at the moment is anything resembling tower siege. So with these slow, lumbering types of damage onto the tower, living armor, even better value overall in this game.
Yeah, no, and it makes you wonder, okay, you picked up Dark Willow. Seen Dark Willow get a lot of value versus the Weaver carry, but now what are you willowing? Where are you going to put your ulti? You need that hero to go in. You need a little bit of lockdown. Your support duo is really slim in that regard. It's where it feels like they need a big stun, but it's not like you can draft a Phoenix right now. If you draft a Tidehunter, you have even less damage. It almost feels like they want to pair it up immediately with an Axe or something. But then, what is Axe going to do versus Treant Weaver? He's going to get pounded into the ground. But they need damage. They need somebody to go in. And okay, Primal, I'll take it. That's our guy. Yeah. That's the hero that could just take control over this game. But, again, versus Treant Protector, anytime he goes in, boom, overgrowth. Done. Oh, you're going to go in and then we're going to play footsies with your BKB. It's where Treant just shuts down everything. Primal thankfully has a 15 talent where suddenly you've got a Dispel, you've got maybe a little bit more time to work with, but it's a very tough pick into Tree.
I feel like at some point in the future, they're going to have to try change Pulverize so it doesn't get interrupted by pretty much everything in the damn game. So annoying. But you are definitely right. It's going to be a hard game for the Primal. At the very least, you know, you have a decent carrier for the Dark Willow ultimate. So Bedlam is nice for something like this, but yeah, I am fully with you that Primal Beast definitely has his work set out for him. We're going to have to see what Old White has to offer here. For Fart Studios, let's see how they will go on the other side of the map. They pick up the Phoenix right now. Like you mentioned, there's no space for the Phoenix on Team Rocket. There is space for Fart Studios. And yes, there is Ice Blast. Of course, that's going to disable the healing. But it's, you know, in theory, it's one thing to be able to disable multiple sources of healing. In practice, being able to do so reliably against a hero like Weaver or whatever else Fast Studios have cooking for I Annihilate mid, very different proposition. If you just miss your Ice Blast, suddenly the team fight is impossible for your team.
Yeah, and then you're rooted, you're struggling to stay alive, and at the end of the day, typically we see these Sunrays used in offensive situations. We see them doing damage. We've seen Phoenixes burn down everyone all day today, and all the eggs have been so good, so we can only hope that Fart Studios Phoenix is going to be up to par. We can only hope. But I think they've got the setup. They've got team fight. They need maybe a little bit more control now to actually get them off the egg. I think one more hero to just place in front, or that.
Ooh,
Set tempo,
the
slow up
classic.
the Primal Beast. I mean, I think Beastmaster is one of the best picks into Primal, just because, again, once you initiate, once you commit, you're slowed up. The Hawk is rooting you. It's so obnoxious to get in and out of these fights that 9 times out of 10, you just kind of end up dying. And of course, with the Primal Roar, you get stunned. It's through BKB. You can't commit onto egg very easily with your carry now for Team Rocket. So who's killing this egg? It's a very, very difficult problem. And oh my god, I'm so happy that Fart Studios drafting has suddenly took a huge uptick. I'm a believer now, even though I do like that Void pickup.
So they have, 3 BKB piercing stuns. They have multiple ways of being able to hurt the Dark Willow through her Shadow Realm. They have multiple save, lots of heal, an aura carrier. They can play the game super fast. And although I do like the Faceless Void, Faceless Void has always had this particular weakness that he peaks at a very certain point later on in the game. And in this situation, I mean, I guess they do have a lot of instant burst to be able to kill a hero, but it feels very ultimate reliant on Team Rocket. Can you imagine them winning not even a team fight, a skirmish, without having to use Ice Blast, without having to use Bedlam, without having to use at least a Pulverize? Maybe they can hold off on Chrono. I can imagine these Fast Studios heroes just running you down slowly but surely, but feels a little bit more difficult for Team Rocket to achieve.
No, for sure. And it's a tough Void game. It's where if you miss one of that trio on Fart Studios to disrupt you, your Chrono's going to go to waste. You're not going to be able to finish off your kill. It's where you're very reliant, actually, on your supports to give you that assist with the damage. And of course, Ice Blast Chrono, it's great. But then you have to stagger with your Primal Beast. You can't go in at the same time. You're kind of crossing your wires there. I'm just worried how high a level of execution this Void's going to need to actually get a lot of these Chronos off. Because if you whiff, suddenly there's an egg outside your Chrono. You whiff, suddenly you're getting rooted. You have to pop your Manta early. You have to play on the edge of the fight. It's where the decision-making needs to be perfect. Otherwise, you lose. You're playing versus a Beastmaster line if you get pushed down. That's a good pick.
EC, how did we get to 23, Dazzle?
Someone forgot. That's where we need the coach. We need the guy with the piece of paper who's like, wait a second.
Dazzle's still in the game, bro.
Dazzle's still on the draft, guys. It's the same guy who told Fart Studios to pick Treant in the position they got it, That does help out quite a bit for Team Rocket. Even though it's flexible, they can really put it wherever, depending.
Hear me out, bro. Hear me out. Void Spirit in this game would actually own. I'm not even memeing. You can dodge. High skill enough Void Spirit will never get touched in this game. It's pretty much like ping puck, right? I think Queen of Pain's a bit more risky because you only have the one option of escape, but with Void Spirit you have two. This would be... I'm not sure about this one. I feel like they needed some tempo control, somebody to actually get ahead, make things happen for them. Now they're super reliant on playing this massive ball. That being said, Beastmaster, Tree, and Phoenix drafts have been known to make massive balls happen, but a massive ball into a Dazzle Faceless Void AA draft, I don't know about this one, ET. What do you make of this last pick, Zeus?
No, it's tough. He's been playing it all tournament. It's right at home. It's right where I Annihilate's been practicing. He's been playing Zeus more than any other mid laner, period. And I think they go for it just for the 100% definite draw versus the Dazzle. And Sanctified and Roseanne are on fairly weak, very low HP pool support, so maybe there's something there, but it's risky. It hasn't worked. They almost didn't make it to the CQ for a reason. And partially because of this Zeus, where if something happens, where he gets picked off, you don't find that value, the hero's very, very slow. Finding value in general after he just gets level 6 is difficult. And he has been very, very good at finding those kills in the side lanes, getting people off guard, especially arms. You need to be so careful in this game. Just a random Thunder Gods that catches you off guard. But at the same time, we're in a waiting game. You got to draw versus Dazzle. Fingers crossed. I like every other pick on Fart Studios.
Yeah, me too. I suppose I'm with you that there's like massive kill potential on these supports between Weaver, Zeus, you know. I'm never safe on the map if I'm playing AA or Dark Willow, but I'm not convinced by this last pick, Zeus. We're going to see if Fart Studios can convince us with their play as we get into the first game of the elimination series between Fart Studios and the side of Team Rocket. Loser, well, they're already at home right now, but they stay home. No ticket to Kuala Lumpur. Not gonna get to hang out with anybody else. Not gonna get to see wonderful Malaysia. And I'm planning to go to the event to pester people, so at least you get to avoid that.
I see. The devious, the maniacal plan.
Yeah. That's the next level place. Like, if I throw the qualifier, I don't have to answer random questions on camera, you know?
Amen. It's some players' biggest fear. You'd be surprised. How many players would duck you?
A surprising amount. I have ran this experiment. I have seen firsthand.
No.
You were doing very well. I'm very proud of you.
But let's talk about this. So, Dazzle versus the Zeus. You were mentioning that it's going to be a definitely drawn matchup. What should be the objectives of either mid hero in this scenario to try and progress the game for their team?
I think it'll simply come down with the way I know it's been playing Zeus. It really has just been spam, 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 get enough mana, TP out to the lanes, almost like Storm Spirit of days of old, where you just use all of your mana to aggressively farm back to your well and then come out onto the map, level 9, level 10. That's a long, long ways away. It's where, honestly, he's not the one to look at. The mid lane in general is not the right place to look at because neither side is going to get active early. The Dazzle, maybe he makes a TP rotation here or there, but they're farming. They're waiting. It's where these side lanes have to be almost completely self-reliant. If anybody starts to dip, if somebody starts slacking where they start losing the lane desperately, then we've got a problem because no mid laners are fixing for either side. It's where those rotations, you got to be so careful because as soon as those scales get tipped, there's not a lot that you can do to get it back in your favor.
Speaking of these side lanes, the one that you outlined in the draft as being particularly strong, this Weaver and the Treant Protector, being paired together versus Primal Beast and the Dark Widow. As strong as this lane is, this is going to be very brawly in both directions. Like, unfortunately for the side of Team Rocket, Jenkins is a very, very tanky boy on this Treant Protector, but nonetheless, probably going to be one of those lanes where we shouldn't be surprised if errant kills happen due to mispositioning.
Yeah. Especially once these trees start dying down there on the right side from Jenkins. All it takes is one just onslaught through, and then suddenly you've got nowhere to work with. It's very, very scary to play versus. But at the same time, with Old White getting a point up in Uproar already, his timing's now been moved back to level 3, so it's going to be a little bit slower from Team Rocket before they can get aggressive. But in the meantime, they're just waiting. If Fear can get his level 5 in a pretty succinct fashion, then he's very happy, because suddenly you just can't die in this lane.
Just clocked level 2 with the Geminate attack. It's going to be on cooldown for a bit, and because of the uproar, can't kill All Right, but a lot of harass being applied to the Dark Willow. So, dividends being yielded so far for Fast Studios on the top side of the map. Let's see how they're faring on the other side of things, as Jaeger and Newsom taking on Arms as well as Roseanne. I mean, AA, Faceless Void, it's not the strongest in the laning phase, but eventually in the game, this is terrifying to deal with.
No, it's very, very problematic. It's where, unfortunately for them, the wave is just pushing out already into Jaeger. They're taking a much slower approach, not really caring too much. And actually, there we go.
What?
Up top. Misplay. No Shikuchi. He just used it. I don't know if he Shikuchi'd and then immediately auto-attacked, so we left the invis, but that's a kill that should almost never happen. Old White literally doesn't have the skills to do this, but just a simple Bramble, just connected on him, no W, gets taken down.
Game is hard. You're getting squashed like a bug in that particular situation. hoping it doesn't happen again, but that's going to give a pretty decent advantage to the enemy team. Fortunately for him, like you mentioned, it takes a while for the skills to be available to do this reliably and repeatedly, so provided he doesn't misstep again, should be perfectly fine on the top side of the map, able to recover some of this farm. You know, sometimes you're playing carry, these deaths happen. You're talking to your team about, hey, what I want to do later in the game. Things go south, what can you do?
Yeah, it happens. It's not the end of the world. You give Old White maybe boots a little bit faster than he otherwise would have. You know, just stand better, Jenkins, and then hopefully something good happens. But it's where on the other side of the map, they're chilling down here. They're taking their drawn lane. They aren't really able to shut out that Faceless, but what else can you do? Nusham actually is in kind of a little bit of trouble. The dilation's not pretty, but oh, they're gonna trade
Jaeger wants to get the kill on Roseanne first. He does manage to succeed. Nusham might survive here. He has a Fairy Fire, so he's going to be able to walk away from the Faceless Void. In fact, they're looking to turn, but he does have the time walk away, keep himself alive. Very nicely done by Fart Studios in this bottom side of the map, and Jaeger doing the smart thing by continuing to pressure the Void underneath his own tower. Very nicely done.
No, end up missing a lot of those last hits. They gotta be careful though. And again, this time, okay.
Nice, fine, dude. He's gonna get brambled up, but he's got 5-1 charges. Sakuchi up in 3 seconds. In fact, they're gonna turn back onto Old White. Jenkins, having thrown out the path of this Nature's Grasp, is gonna enable them to bring down Old White. Sanctified shouldn't be in too much fear of dying if he runs straight home with these charges on the one, but nonetheless, very nicely done by Fast Studios all across the map here. They've managed to find 2 kills simultaneously. It always feels really good when you're on a team that is finding success on both sides of the map at the same time.
No, it is so important, especially in this game, when those mid laners are that nil factor, like I was alluding to, as well as it's almost Thunder God's Wrath time. So that's where suddenly Team Rocket has to be extremely aware of their HP pools, whether or not they have raindrops. It's where a little slip up suddenly becomes you dying randomly to Annihilate. You give a kill up in the lane, heroes, supports start to move around. It's where without that awareness, you are going to feed at least one death to the Zeus. And then suddenly everybody's like, okay, bye raindrops, we gotta be chill now. This is the one mistake we can allow ourselves, but that could kickstart and really start a trend here for Fart Studios to get even more out of their lanes. Even though right now, slowing down a little bit.
Certainly going to be looking to try and get these level 6s, especially on the Beastmaster ASAP. And they're actually bringing in Jenkins down bottom on the Treant Protector. They're going in onto Roseanne here. They should be able to find the pincer maneuver. And this is going to be a dead Ancient Apparition. Arms doesn't really have to worry too much about his own life. They even cancel out the TP and support because he is A-okay. But this does give additional experience towards the Beastmaster. The sooner he gets to 6, if they can get the Raw 1 or 2 Axis combo plus Thunder God's Wrath, that will be a dead Faceless Void. So nice movement for the future coming in from Fast Studios.
Yeah, it's exactly what you need. Jenkins just running around the map. He's a strong hero. Probably not going to get too many points up in the living armor just so he can keep that pressure on. Because every single time Roseanne shows anywhere on the map, they simply can just dive and kill the AA. There really isn't too much risk that you have to worry about. As long as Fear is having a good time up top, then there's nothing to complain about. But here we go. Thunder God's Wrath is online. He's in the fountain, getting full mana. And then you got to watch these side lanes. You got to see who ends up taking those bad trades.
Shout out the Observer for finding the right lane because Old White is almost certainly going to die here, but they choose not to dive in for him. This is somewhat peculiar here. Sakuchi available for Fear. That plus 1 more Geminate attack hit will kill Old White. But they don't want to reveal their trump card just yet. They're going to try to save it for a bigger target. Going to go on to Sanctified instead. We'll enter into the Shadow Realm right now. They'll steal a Wisdom Rune from his face. And I guess they're content with this, but honestly, Old White is not safe. Creeps are coming underneath the tier 1 tower. They're drawing the aggro, but Fear doesn't run into him. Man, merciful Fart Studios allowing this Primal Beast to live right now. He does not have raindrops, does not have a cloak. He would have died from the magic damage, but it's too late now.
Yeah. He's got a 6 stick, but they're just being incredibly patient. There's a few games where that first Thunder God's Wrath just ends up whiffing, and then suddenly they lose out on a tower because they just don't have another hero to play with. But actually, mid lane, does RL want to do this? Kind of does. He's got a huge stick.
He's going in for him. Annihilate does not have said stick, only had a Fairy Fire, can't pop it off in time. Ends up losing his life in the process. This is a huge deal. Jenkins comes in, but they can't necessarily zone back RL, who's sitting with a Haste Rune. So this Dazzle feeling extremely strong right now. So not only does Fart Studios miss their initial timing with the Thunder Gods, but they get punished in the interim, having their Zeus removed from the pool, so their pressure taken off the map a bit.
No, now, of course, just gonna TP back mid, start farming it up again, but you've displaced your supports. The only way they can really go is towards bottom, going over towards Jaeger. If they need to, just wait for a play to die and then take a Twin Gate up towards that top lane. But Jaeger is putting the pressure onto this Faceless Void, and actually, they're looking for a big fight. Old White's here. He's not 6, though, so they're forcing, but he's taking so much damage.
Let's see what's gonna happen. Primal Roar goes out onto the Primal Beast. Roseanne will die first, and there's gonna be the Sun Ray trying to keep this Beastmaster alive, and with the Thunder God's Wrath onto the Faceless Void, it ends up killing him off. Old White not gonna be able to escape this fight either. And though they end up killing off the Beastmaster, it's gonna cost them quite a bit as the Nushim Supernova pops, enabling him to dive after and kill off the Dark Willow as well. 4 for 1. The patience from the Zeus rewarded. And a massive fight from Fart Studios will net them a tier 1 tower in the bottom lane, potentially.
No, it's a sick timing from Fart Studios. They pushed the issue. They didn't have level 6 on the Phoenix coming into that fight, but they know there's no Chrono, there's no Pulverize. 2 level 5 heroes just ended up going into this man fight versus Beastmaster. And sure, you get him, but most importantly, you break the TP of the Dazzle. The Zeus in the mid lane just gets vision of him, stops that TP, stops any additional damage. But Fear? Oh, he's so fine.
That's fine, dude. He's playing Weaver.
So balanced.
Weaver with the... Remember in the last game we spoke about this particular timing, that this time is like by 12 minutes you ideally want to have Falcon Blade, D-Lance, then your other item. This time he's opting to skip the Power Treads, going straight for the Desolator. A decision when you're playing up against heroes with lowish armor, like Dark Willow, Ancient Apparition. Yeah, I'm down with this, definitely, for sure.
It just accelerates your timings and also gives you maybe that opportunity with your Beastmaster where you come over to his lane, you check out, see what Roche is doing downstairs maybe. If they could force a sub 15-minute Roche, that would be insane. In the meantime, again...
Oh, top lane, Fear might die. Fear. Oh my god. Jebaited. Well, they call him Old Man Fear, gets jebaited by Old White. Killed off by the side of Team Rocket, and that's going to enable them to reset some of the pressure that the Weaver was applying top. Looks like they're going to be the ones to maybe take the tower with the Sea Dragon instead.
They're okay with this, though, on Fart Studios. They're not okay with Fear dying, but as soon as they show any amount of heroes in the top lane with that cart, they should just immediately bring that Beastmaster towards mid. It's slow rotation, but they're getting a little greedy. They want to do both. Beastmaster cannot TP top, though. You can't really do that with that hero. You have to be more patient. They see Fear, who does disjoint that Dazzle Q and starts moving away, but at the same time, they're trying to do a lot of plays on the map right now. The mid-tower push has started, but is this really how they want this to go?
See what they're willing to trade for this. Jenkins trying to slow this down with the Living Armor is not going to be good enough. The tower does end up falling. In the mid lane, Jaeger, unfortunately, not able to apply enough pressure of his own, so they will not win out on this trade. And in fact, Team Rocket, they feel strong. They're going to smoke up. Primal Beast is the one that TPs in first, but Dazzle and the Dark Willow are coming in as support. Jaeger needs to get the hell out of dodge, otherwise he might find himself on the receiving end of a Pulverize attack. And he's coming up the high ground. This is not the angle he wants. Oh no, he's farming in. And they just caught vision. It's daytime here, ET. They see him perfectly. And here's the Pulverize. Grabbed in. No escape for you, my friend. He throws out the perfunctory Primal Roar, but he knows he's dead as All Right, able to finish off the assassination move that he started.
Oh, and that was so much gold he just fed. He fed his life, he fed his creeps, he fed his boars, and nothing you can do there. And Arms survives. He gets out.
Oh my gosh, the Time Walk, baby. What a spell. Arms able to get out of trouble. Completely disjoints that initiation. And, you know, honestly, if they'd killed Arms in that moment, the feed that you were just mentioning about how much gold he gave up might have been not necessarily worth it, but you could justify it. But now you're not just down on the gold, you're down on ultimates, multiple of them at a time.
No, it means that you have to take a step back. You have to reset. It's where every second that they can't make this play onto the mid tower because they're not successfully getting there with enough heroes, you're just stuck farming. And okay, you're farming, that's fine. Your opponents are just a ramp. You're getting a Midas on the Faceless Void. You're getting real tangible items on both the Dazzle and the Primal Beast, and then they're just gonna team fight you. They're gonna battle you. You're still looking for maybe the level 6 on your AA, which is a little bit sad, but happens when you get your Wisdom Rune robbed. But in the meantime, all Fart Studios can do is farm. Take as much of the map as they can until they wait for the objectives. It's one of the big problems with this Zeus hero. You just don't open things up. You nuke the wave, go to the jungle, you nuke the jungle, you do that on loop until you get enough items, I guess. It's where this hero really hasn't clicked with anyone else for a reason. It just doesn't fulfill the role that typical mid laners do.
Top lane, Lucian about to die. There's going to be the first Chronosphere Ancient Apparition Blast combo. As the Ice Blast brings him low, Sanctified's Bedlam brings him down. And you know, one of the things that you were talking about, what they can actually accomplish on the map with the Zeus. Whenever I look at Dota drafts, I think to myself, how do they win fights? Or how do they even start fights? Team Rocket, we just saw an example there. You can jump in with Chrono, Ice Blast to follow up. You can go in with Pulverize eventually. With the Blink Dagger, you don't even need the Blink with the Onslaught. But for Dire side, like, if you don't have a Blink Dagger on Beastmaster or on Treant Protector, what do you actually do? How do you engage onto these Team Rocket heroes?
It's where very suddenly that gold lead that Fart Studios fought for does not exist anymore. It is no longer there. Everything is leveled out. The cores are all catching each other, only 500 net worth apart. It's a game that ends up being incredibly even, and you look for the advantage. You try to see what you have, and Fart Studios still has fantastic team fight, but they got to do something with it. They have to actually connect onto these heroes. Now, do they want to break? There's the Centaur. They see it scouted. Now, Nushin breaks, but they can't get into the fight. Everyone's just walking away from each other.
There's no Blink Dagger on Tree until they have this item. This is going to happen every single time. And unfortunately for them, they find nothing. On the bright side though, they can utilize this Beastmaster mini army to at least finish off the tier 1 tower mid, but this is a consolation prize for having committed a smoke and a lot of time for these heroes to not farming elsewhere on the map.
No, it's sad. It's important, but at the same time, it's not that kill that they're looking for. It's not stopping the Faceless Void. He was never going to show up. He doesn't have Chrono. He's finishing up his items, but that is going to be the issue. How many plays can Fart Studios successfully do before the Faceless Void is going to want to get involved? How many times can you force Roche? What is Fear going to do once he has this Deso? It's where you have to really speed up the pace of this game. If Fear is looking at his inventory and he sees an Aegis in there in the next 5 minutes, he's going to be satisfied. He can suddenly play versus Faceless Void. Roche control is so important versus the hero, it gives your carry a chance. Until then, we're just waiting. And look, free pick. Jenkins just too far forward.
He's going to be waiting for his life to come back in the fountain. Taking a little bit of an early bath. Just chilling. On the bright side for his squad, it's not going to lead to too much on the map. But still, doesn't feel good at this stage. The one thing that does help them out a lot though, on the side of Fart Studios is, yes, they're going to need quite a bit of time before this draft becomes really online, but I'm looking at this Team Rocket draft. Their push is atrocious. Like, this game does not end quickly, even if they are in a very good position. So you have a lot of time to wait, and you have several tools for deep push. The Zeus, the Swarm Bugs, Wild Axes, Phoenix, even Nature's Grasp, all very good tools for slowing down the game. So Fart Studios can certainly elongate progress until Fear does get to that critical mass point as the Weaver.
You can get very annoying very quickly, as well as Team Rocket have only had to defend so far in this game. They haven't been pushed. As soon as they try to aggress, that's where suddenly your AA and your Dazzle and your Willow are all out of position. They won't have those towers to fall back on, and that's where opportunities could arise for Fart Studios to actually find and pick them off. Because if you can get behind Old White, if you can infiltrate that backline, well, he's got to turn around. Something that Primal Beast is not very good at. As well as, look at the TP's in. They canceled the TP on the Void, and now they gotta go. Yeah, everybody has to retreat. Very, very odd from the Faceless.
This is a very good timing for them. They have the Desolator available. Roshan quite close to the squad. They haven't blown their ultimates, and they know Ice Blast is down. Maybe they try and encroach into the pit, but it does feel a bit dangerous without a pick off or two. They're gonna try and get that in the mid lane as they're going in. Ancient Apparition He might be the target, but still ET. They lack blink daggers, they lack mobility. They will be able to find the kill with the Thunder God's Wrath, catching him in the fountain. But nonetheless, considering how strong these heroes are who are leading the charge and how weak AA is at the moment, still feel like it was a bit more difficult than it needed to be.
No, it's not the kill they want either. They need to start slowing down these cores on Team Rocket because they're just farming. They're Midasing it up. RRL is building his way up to an Ags, and without being able to kick out Arms from that top lane, you're not seeing them transition to that Roche. And if Arms can just sit there with Chrono on the same side of the map as Roche successfully, then you're not going to get an Aegis for your Weaver. I think finally we've got the Deso done for Fear. Now he's going back for the Shard as he should, but by the time he has that done, Old White's going to have a Reaver. These heroes are going to start getting very, very tanky. And do you have enough damage? Will you be able to actually take them out? Jaeger just got a Helm of the Overlord, which is, you know, pretty hopeful, pretty nice. But at the same time, we just haven't gotten a clean team fight. We haven't gotten any big battle, which is what Fart Studios absolutely want. They want a huge, messy, gross fight where everybody can just run at each other. Maybe once Newsham gets this Hex, we can actually see them go for more of those pickoff plays. But until then, the game's just very slow. And here we go. They move into the pit. No Weaver, though. He's going to have to TP probably in a sec here, but they are going to need him to make sure this doesn't take too long.
Maybe they might leave him to just bait out the enemy team, but he's going to go in. Has Swarm Bugs at the ready, but more importantly has the Desolator hit. So Roshan not going to be in existence for much longer. No defense being mounted from Team Rocket. So the first Aegis of the game, as it should, goes the way of the team that has Beastmaster and Weaver. Nice. Nice and fair. Very balanced.
Very balanced. Very, very nice physical damage lineup. But now, what else can they do? Is this enough? The Faceless Void. This is where those mid-game chronos matter so much. Because if you get kills with this chrono, then a 2-minute cooldown feels like 60 seconds. And he's kind of greedy for being where he is. And this is not what he wanted.
He turned for a second and then, you know, Better Sense got a hold of him when he realized just how dangerous the situation was. He backs off, but that is an entire Chronosphere committed. We'll see if Fast Studios can exploit this right now. They have a miniature Beastmaster army in front of the tier 2 tower. They do not have a Siege Dragon with them, but it's en route. Let's see how much damage they can put on before it arrives. Swarm Bugs going in, scouts out Old White. Ice Blast gets tossed onto Fear, but it misses. And he still has the Aegis ready to go. RRL forced to deny the tier 2 tower. But that just opens up space for them to claim the Tormentor away from Team Rocket. Alrighty. The greed of the Faceless Void ends up paying massive dividends for the side of Fast Studios.
Yeah, now they just stick around, wait for the 21-minute rune, claim that as well, and, well, that's perfect for Fart Studios. You get everything you want. I don't know if Arms was just really afraid of getting caught, but with how little initiation there is from Fart Studios, I think he just got kind of lost in the sauce there. He really didn't have to do that. And yeah, Sanctified.
Bye-bye, Sanctified. Oops. You know, somebody has to be the first one to give the Weaver the Deso charge. So, it's gotta be you sometimes. What can you do?
Yeah, at least Team Rocket held on to their glyph, but Fart Studios didn't really go anywhere. They're just back onto another tier 2. They're looking for Jenkins, but okay. Somebody with vision needs to get here. Otherwise, he's just going to go invisible, but here we go.
It's the Zeus coming in as well to try and render assistance. They're going to try and at least bring somebody down. They do find the kill onto Jenkins, but it might not be worth it. Old White trying to mount an escape, onslaughting away. Annihilate chasing him down with the Heavenly Jump and the Lightning Bolt. They have enough damage, and they have additional assistance from Fear, who comes in to deliver the vision necessary to kill off the Primal Beast. This is a great move because, yet again, once they connect on the kill down bottom, guess what's happening middle? Jaeger taking an army to try and bring down the tier 2 tower.
No, it's gonna work. Beastmaster, baby. Does the same thing it's always done, but it's all you need. Just gives you more map control, opens everything up, makes your game that much easier. And without the Primal Beast, then you suddenly realize, okay, if Arms needs a little bit more time, which he certainly does, he's doing the slower build-up on Faceless Void, the build-up that he should go for with the heroes he's playing against, but just means that he's not contributing a whole lot of damage just yet into his own Chronospheres. So it's all coming from the Primal Beast. It's going to be coming from him and his Aghanim Scepter eventually, once he gets it. But until then, we're playing a little bit of a waiting game here, where suddenly Art Studios start marching around the map, start taking these high grounds. They are letting Team Rocket get a little bit too far out in these lanes. It's where they can definitely play that prosecuting style of Dota, where they just don't let you leave the map ever. But at the same time, they've got a very convincing push. They can at least force you back right now. They've got Glyph, but we're getting to the point where heroes are going to have to start retreating into the base.
Early on in the game, I saw this Weaver having queued up a Lincoln Sphere, but because of how the game is going right now, he feels confident enough to angle instead for a Daedalus. It's going to massively increase the damage output, and in the small interval of time where the stuns can happen, they can find kills, but now here's a huge stun going in. It catches Beastmaster and Weaver, but they both survive inside the Chronosphere. Time-lapse comes out, Sunray heals up the Beastmaster, and the Supernova stuns up the Primal Beast. Beastmaster does die eventually, but he opens up space for Annihilate to demolish the Primal Beast. Also allows Fear to kill off the tier 3 tower. Not the greatest success in the world for Team Rocket, and they still have to fight into an Aegis. We'll see how far Studios decides to approach us, and it looks like they're going to decide to back off. I mean, still a big deal for them. 5k net worth deficit, a difficult hold, and at the very least, all they lose is the tier 3 tower here, ET.
Yeah. Still have their Glyph, still feel pretty okay with their position in the game, but even with a Chrono with a Beastmaster that was that out of position, it doesn't matter. The egg goes off. The heal still comes through. I'm not sure exactly where Roseanne's AA Blast ended up going, but it didn't clip onto any of the heroes inside the Chronosphere, and your Faceless Void is unable to play the video game. He can't. All he can do is go in, bait out ultimates. There wasn't even an overgrowth committed in that team fight because it was already a one fight. The only unfortunate thing for Fart Studios is now, before they can make another push like that, Fear either needs a whole lot more net worth, or simply they're just going to have to wait for another Aegis, and that's what they're going to be stuck waiting for. They need to wait for next Roche, and then that's going to be their big push for an easy win in this game. Until then, though, they do just have to take a step back. Don't get picked off. Be patient. Don't give your opponents any leeway right now, but at the same time, respect that they can kill you and slow up the game tremendously.
Fear doing that classic carry thing. You lose one fight, you're feeling good in the game, you're gonna build a massive damage item. You lose a single, or not even you lose it, but it doesn't go as planned. You're like, alright, buying defensive item immediately.
Yeah.
Buys Lincoln Sphere. I've been there, buddy. And now he's gonna go back for the Daedalus. I see. In fact, now they're just gonna go for a fight. Heads up. We've been waiting for them to have initiation potential. They still don't have a blink on the Treant Protector, but they do have a bead onto arms, but they just miss him in the nighttime. Oh my goodness. I don't think enough players really appreciate the difference between nighttime and daytime vision. If it's nighttime, we have a dead Faceless Void, but because it's not, the day gets to continue for our Faceless man.
Yeah, and this is on Newsham's new Hex. They have a gem up with him as well, the Jenkins bot. They want to get somebody making a mistake, specifically RRL there, but he's terrified. He knows he just needs to play that almost Tinker style of Dota that Dazzle facilitates, and then, well, the wave's dead, push is dead, smoke's dead, and again, Team Rocket are still getting out onto the map. It's not like these cores are suffering too much just yet. They're still finding their way into these creep camps. They've been extremely elusive, which is foreboding for Fart Studios. Because if they don't get something going pretty soon here, well, then their opponents are just going to start out-farming them. It's why the net worth lead has stopped growing in their favor, because they're not exactly stopping their opponents from getting any of these items.
Unfortunately, they're playing into Faceless Void carry. Not only the best late game carry in the game, that has this air inevitability, one of the better answers towards a Weaver, no matter how farmed the Weaver gets. In the ultra late game, you are not playing against Faceless Void, my friend. It's just very difficult. Right now, Fast Studios trying to hunt down Old White in the top lane, but Jenkins misses the grasp. And he's Gucci, he's chilling. Gonna get out. And it might be a Roshan. If it spawns in 10 seconds, my goodness, that would be so lucky for Fast Studios. Give me a prediction, quickly.
I'm gonna say 45.
45, alright. And we have,
145.
There's a 45 in there, we'll take it.
Okay, we'll take it, but not what they wanted to see. Means that they're gonna have to wait for it to go bottom, and then they can do something as Arms and Annihilate. Holy. Don't even see each other. Just move past. Don't think about it. But sadly, Fart Studios don't even want to attempt at that high ground, even though Old White has walked into hell. Can anyone else get here is the question.
Gonna see what they're gonna try and do here. Alright, does manage to get away. It's back in the base. Arms is busy farming the Dire Ancients at the moment. He has also spent more than a minute without activating his Hand of Midas. Wherever OD Pixel is right now, he is molding. Very upset. He still hasn't used it. Oh my god, he's gonna die without the Midas, dude. No way, don't do this, Arms. Please get out of here. Well, if you're gonna die, use the Midas first, bro. You will live. But, okay, there we go. Everything's okay.
Yeah, they're just not able to stick on these heroes. They're not able to continue the play. And as soon as support shows up, they have to kind of just back away. As sadly, Jaeger losing his big boys, losing the Dino. No more Black Dragon for him. Very unfortunate. It's the best creep. But now should be Roche scouting time. Probably going to see, yeah, Fart Studios, they smoke up on the earliest possible Roche timer. Just basic Dota stuff. Looking for a pick, a possible pick that could lead into this Roche in the top lane. But they're going head first into Team Rocket here. It's a who sees who first situation.
Let's see what they're able to accomplish. They come across Arms. They come in. There's going to be the Hex thrown in by the Noose and Phoenix. But already they do not find the kill. They're going to try and disable him and kill him off before the Supernova comes out. But it does emerge. Alright though. Should be able to escape the blast radius from this. Given the Shallow Grave as additional insurance. And we've already wasted 2 ultimates from Fart Studios. That's going to open the invitation for them to go into the Roshan pit for the side of Team Rocket. Challenging and daring Fart Studios to stop them from doing it.
Oh, they're just going to have to give it up. I mean, they have overgrowth, but they have no way to approach the pit right now. But they need to go. They have to.
They're going to try for it, but unfortunately the Onslaught catches the tree, but the overgrowth catches onto the Primal Beast as well as the Void. Unfortunately though, there is no follow-up, and that also means Newsom will get caught in the trees, pulverized into the ground, killed off by Arms. It's a double kill for the Faceless Void. Roshan took the opportunity to head to the vacation home. Doesn't want to see any of this fighting, as disturbing his peace. But Team Rocket will still chase him. The violence will not escape you, big man. They're gonna kill you off and they're gonna take the Aegis and your lunch by taking away the cheese.
Oh, and now for Fart Studios, you have that nightmare situation. The Faceless Void is the one with the Aegis. Your Weaver now has to play Terrified in the fights. The reason you didn't see Fear do much damage in that last engagement is because he can't show. If he shows, he gets chronoed, he dies, there's no fight. Whether or not he dies is completely dependent on how successful his teammates are at forcing out those ultimates, and simply there wasn't a great enough threat. And now, well, the enemy team is just going to start taking all of these objectives. They start playing catch-up. That 2k gold lead is going to start to be nothing once they start catching up on these towers. It's not pretty stuff. Not to mention, Arms didn't even chrono. He still has everything. Oh. If he wants to, they could smoke up, go for another fight right away. He could care less right now. He's hit level 20 as well. We're getting to that point, even though they do get something. A little pick there onto Sanctified, but that's it. That doesn't change the state of the game very much at all.
Yeah, we're entering late game Void territory soon. You know what terrifies me about this game? Or, not terrifies me, perplexes me, I think is a better question. Given how much they've had difficulty initiating these fights, I mean, given what we saw on the top side of the map, where despite being able to find a pretty good hex out of the Phoenix, they still struggle to do anything in the aftermath of this. Should Fast Studios maybe not have prioritized getting Jenkins this Blink Dagger, like ASAP, above and beyond anything else? Like, make the Phoenix be the hard support for a while, just to finish off the crucial initiation item that they need?
No, I 100% think it's a mistake at this point, especially with, you've got a Zeus in your mid lane, you've got a Primal Beast as your off lane, you know. You need something to go in. Without it, they just haven't been able to stick on and punish really anyone, which is unfortunate because they have it in their draft. They've picked for this purpose, even though Tormentor almost took RL's life there. A little scary. So somebody's not putting his courier over there, so it almost ended up getting taken out. He's gonna need some friends, but at the same time, for Fart Studios, you're losing your timers. You're running out of damage. Fear just got his Daedalus, so a little bit better, something to play for. Got a Defiant Shell as well, so in a man fight, he actually does do quite a bit of damage, but is that enough to kill off Old White? I don't even know. Got 3,600 HP. He's got 20 armor. He constantly dispels himself. It's where Heartblade Mail, baby. It's the patch.
It kills me that he has Heartblade Mail Ags, right? 3,800 HP, 20 armor, and he's the 4th lowest hero in net worth on the map. Nice, bro. That seems completely fair to me. I see no problem with this.
No, and then you look at the old style, the old school offlaner, and Jaeger, oh, we don't need to look at him anymore.
Yep, there's no shallow grave for him. He's just gonna be dead immediately. On the bright side, the ultimate is down, so maybe they re-engage this fight. There's a Nimbus Cloud drop down, and they are able to put some decent damage onto Arms. But he still has 2 minutes left on his Aegis. They certainly do not want this smoke. They back up, they punk out, and they will allow Team Rocket to escape with murder.
Yeah, and that was pretty expensive. I don't really know if that was worth it for Arms, but they certainly wouldn't have gotten the kill as cleanly as they did if he doesn't chrono like that. But now we are just going to have to see how Team Rocket decide to push themselves forward. And with the kill, I guess it does just set himself apart level-wise, but... Oh.
Dude, Nusham just saves the fight right there. That Hex, very crucial. It happens just as he was about to get chain disabled. Allows him to stay alive. Make sure the fight doesn't happen immediately. It could still happen now, though, through the mid lane. Nature's Cross, though, from Jenkins, trying to buy space and time. It's not going to be enough. He throws out the Overgrowth, but he will still end up dead. Fear, in the meantime, putting in the right-click damage directly on top of Old White. They're no longer afraid of a Chronosphere. It does not exist. So with the Nimbus Cloud and the ultimate from the Zeus, they're able to do quite a bit of damage, but nobody's died except for the Ancient Apparition. Fear really wishes he could punch a little bit harder right now. Not able to do so. Fortunately for him, though, I Annihilate can, with the Phylactery Zeus bursting down both these two supports, forcing the retreat from Team Rocket. And it's like you said, they overcommitted for the earlier kill onto the Beastmaster, leaving them defenseless when they get counteracted into beyond the tier 2 tower.
Yeah. And that is what I was worried about before with Team Rocket. As soon as they have to leave their own base, as soon as they're not pushing Fart Studios aside, if you mess up your positioning, your supports do just get eaten. Neither of them have gone for Ghost Scepters. It's not like Fear needs a Nullifier to do his job here. Or in that situation, it was just Annihilate, just cutting them off, making sure they couldn't do anything. And then suddenly, you give up a little bit of speed to your opponents. A team fight as well. They knew they didn't have Chrono. They had been burning that one off for at least 100 seconds at that point. So it was just Old White. And even now, bottom, it feels like Team Rocket is taking a much more timid approach to the game. A lot of that confidence just feels like it's evaporated.
Late game Void is certainly a menace. The strongest late game carry in the game. Can generally 1v9, but there's a lot of ways to just diminish your team even before the fight starts with these heroes on the side of Fart Studios. So they cannot rest on their laurels on Team Rocket. And now that there's no Aegis, this is a bit of a dangerous place for the Faceless Void to be farming. They are setting up a trap though, waiting to jump on whoever shows in front of the tier 2 tower. Old White will just happily get some D-wards out. Jenkins risked his life for this, but it gave very valuable information over to Fart Studios. Enables them to keep this game going. Man, this is so interesting. Like, one crazy hyper carry versus a team that can just assassinate everybody in seconds eventually. I feel like the longer this game goes, the more entertaining it becomes.
No, for sure. It also builds up that pressure on the Arms where, oh, it's so simple. Just go in, just chrono the Phoenix, and then we can win the fight. Just chrono the Weaver, we'll win the fight. But you're starting to see Fart Studios get those tools to actually navigate around that chrono. And depending on what Arms decides to go for, things could get pretty sketchy pretty quickly. This is interesting.
I don't know about this one. They have a Blink Dagger now on Jenkins. They've just time walked away. This could be the opportunity for them to jump in right now.
Full
Jenkins,
vision.
He's holding off. He's waiting.
They see everyone.
They have all their ultimates. They see everybody. Jenkins, he could make the jump right now, but he decides not to. Playing it patient. Man, that would have been the biggest one more combo of all time. But the window opens, it shuts, and Team Rocket able to back off. They don't blast off again this time. They just walk away. They're chilling.
Yeah. I think with Fear, disconnected from the lineup. They're afraid of making that big play happen, feeding 4 heroes in return, and then, you know, suddenly you've lost the game again. So they decide to be more patient. But, I mean, we all saw it. He saw it. He wanted to do it, but he thought better of himself. He didn't want to make this game any harder than it already is. Even though now, okay, if your TP's back home, it's going to start to recenter around that Roche pit. And again, if Fart Studios want to do this right, in a few seconds here, they're going to want to look to smoke. They have to at least check the pit with a Nimbus for that earliest possible timer. But they don't want an early Roche. They want to take this one as slow as possible. They want to build up a few more of these big items, these tier 3, tier 4 items. And then maybe we can talk about a fight. Maybe we can talk about buyback, which is where you start to see some gas, a little bit more initiative when it comes to playing versus Faceless Void. Until then, though, you're really towing a fine line.
Almost max respawn time on the Roche. My goodness. Alrighty. So Gaben deeming that this game is entertaining enough to continue as long as possible. You know what's scary about this? As big as Fear is getting, you know, as big as I know this Beastmaster is going to get, as much damage as Zeus is going to deal in the late game, I'm still so scared of Faceless Void and Dazzle. Dude, late game Dazzle. Jeez. I have, it's been a while since I've won a game against a Dazzle in the late game. Let's just put it that way.
No, it's not fun. He got a Spell Prism too, so he's stacking CDR. You just get to a point where you can't die. You don't have silences drafted up on the Heroes of Fart Studios either, so it never gets easier. You can never catch him. It's why RL doesn't have to go for a BKB in this game, where typically Dazzles are forced into that position. It's where I really think Fart Studios, maybe they just start amassing hexes. They just start hoping, you know, copy Nusham a little bit here. I mean, he's getting a refresher himself, so he knows what's up. He knows where the game is kind of heading, but unfortunately for Team Rocket, they're going to have to waste a good bit of time waiting for Roche now. As the team with the Chronosphere, with the control, they're the ones that constantly have to babysit it. And they're going for a smoke, but even if the smoke connects, it's a vain attempt. Any kill here in the next minute or so is not going to affect Roche in the slightest.
You're mentioning that they could go for the chain hexes. I remember Fear was involved in that epic game at TI6. Where they bought, what, 5 Dagons, everybody on the team. It was really fun to watch. I mean, sucked if you were playing on eHome, but from a spectacle perspective, it was great. They're gonna go for this fight, despite the fact that Roshan is quite far from spawning, but they do not know this just yet. Nusham, he's in an awkward position, he does die off, has availability of buyback, but the scary part is Old White is dying inside the Nimbus Cloud. They're gonna force the shallow grave out of him, and there's gonna be the buyback from the Phoenix. Do they re-engage this fight? Chronosphere goes in. Zeus, though, managing to find the Yule Scepter beforehand, but it's not going to help out in the slightest. 3 heroes caught inside, and somehow Arms can do enough damage to kill them off with the assistance of the Dark Willow. 4 heroes have now fallen. Zeus buys back in the engagement, and if we include the Phoenix pickoff, it's an entire damn team wipe in favor of Team Rocket.
Oh, they laid out so hard for the Old White kill. One that did get delayed by the shallow grave. It was Dazzle making it a little bit longer, but Arms jumped forward with the time lock, was almost shocked by what heroes he saw. It gets a 3-man chrono. I think Fear ends up walking into it after the fact, and then it's just beautiful follow-up from Old White. Chain stuns perfectly out of the Chronosphere. You don't get to see anything from your Weaver. And with the Zeus buyback, well, there's a real easy way to win now for Team Rocket. Next Chronosphere, you go in, chrono him, kill him. He's probably going to try and go for an Aeon Disc before the game is over, but you have just given up all of this control now to Team Rocket. Faceless Void is going to come through the Twin Gates and then end up back towards that Roche bottom. It is an Ags as well, free Ags, which maybe not as good as the Refresher Shard on Void, but will surely assist his teammates if they want a little bit more gold. Everybody else already has an Ags pretty much, but they got some love to give, but at the same time, they're in such a great spot. Probably give it to Arms, honestly, at this rate.
Let's see, who's going to take it? Old White's going to pick up the Ags, sell his own one. Alright, Gucci. It's all chilled. They're still deciding. They're talking about, okay, they give it back to the Faceless Void. Old White is like, you know what, bro, we just made a ton of guap. It's fine. I'll splurge out for the Ags Blessing. I'm going to put the homies on. It's chilled. So, E.T. How do you win now? As Fart Studios. They're going to maybe try and gauge this fight as they have smoked up as 4. And the time walk in from Arms. He's very far away from the rest of his squad. He's going to get bursted down and lose his first life. Newsom hasn't popped the supernova just yet. Waiting on this one. Jenkins already utilized the overgrowth, so he's in a bit of a vulnerable position here. He will end up getting hexed and brought down by the rest of Team Rocket. But with the Sunray, Newsom easily burning away Ancient Apparition. Jenkins brought back. They're going to try to save Fear. Fear's too far forward. He time walks back right next to the supernova. And now they're going to be putting pressure onto Old White. They kill him off. He dies. The supernova does pop. Doesn't catch anybody in the process, but it enables I Annihilate to start chasing down Sanctified. He's buying time with the Yule Scepter to stay alive, but Arms able to drop the Chrono on the 2. With the Shadow Realm, they kill off both of these heroes. Shallow Grave keeping Sanctified alive, but that means that RRL might not have a grave of his own. He gets it back with the bad juju. They can't kill him off. Even with the BKB, Jaeger ends up dead, and Fear just cannot assassinate these heroes in the backlines, although he's looking super hard for it. They have indeed lost 3 on Team Rocket, but the 2 that are alive are very dangerous for the Weaver. Fear might just be forced to flee away. As he's running, he knows that Arms is nearby, but he also knows there's no Chronosphere, so there's not as much danger as you would assume. That being said, that's not true of the Dazzle. Dazzle has a Hex. Dazzle does not have a Hex. Never mind, he's safe, he's fine.
Yeah. He escapes. That time lapse though, to initially restart that fight where Fear is almost dead. He should just be getting chronoed on the edge of that fight, but it's 1 or 2 seconds off, and Arms knows that if he goes for a chrono on top of the egg, he will die. The chrono will go off, but he will accomplish nothing, lose his chrono, probably kill his teammates in the process, so he doesn't go for it. At the same time though, die back on Zeus, you lose Jaeger, you don't get to kill the Dazzle or the Faceless Void, they're still doing their own thing. I feel like we're in Rapier territory for Fear, and that's the only way you can go about it. Just because you have a second and a half, you've got a Hex to play off at this point, and then you can play the game. Until then though, you've already got to deal with 20% backtrack on Arms. At least you forced an Aegis out of his hand, but Arms is also just going for a refresher. He knows if you play around buybacks, well, I'll just have 2 chronos. If I'm not playing about buybacks, well, buy a Rapier. Tempt me. See what I can do. I'm just going to look for you now. It's that scary part of the game that we all know, we all hate versus Faceless Void. He just has to do so little to win at this stage.
So Void is the best late game hero in the game. We'll see how they approach dealing with this. As they see these heroes in the top lane, there's no Aegis to be playing around with. Jenkins considering making an initiation with this gem, siding against it. But thanks to the gem, they do see these wards being placed inside the base, but he has to be careful about the D-ward attempt. They can jump him, and indeed they do. They're going directly onto the Treant Protector, and they kill him off quite quickly. Gem dropped on the deck and reclaimed by the Primal Beast, and now Hex going out onto Arms, but they don't have the follow-up. Fear is not here. They just don't have the damage, despite how good that situation looked, DC.
Oh, they have no follow-up. They have no more lockdown. All the other heroes are going down the lanes. They're waiting for something. I don't know if these heroes are just trying to farm up some buyback, or if they're literally just looking for a base trade at this point, which, I mean, the push on Team Rocket's not great. We already know this, but I don't think there's any way they successfully force a trade. I think Team Rocket probably just back after the racks and then decide to force you out, flush you out of the lanes, but I guess the game continues. They don't have to worry about much after that, but I don't know, this is a very scary situation to be in.
Honestly, this is where that death onto Jenkins makes such a big difference. If Jenkins is alive there, with this Blink Dagger overgrowth, you can prevent these TPs home. Maybe at least force out a range rax, or at the very least a glyph, or something like that. But with his life being forfeit, it's just a free lane of racks. Nothing else to be claimed on the map. In Fort Studios, there was a point where they were progressively leading this game by a margin of 4 to 6 gold. Now they're behind by 27. My goodness, how the tides have turned. And unfortunately, when you're the team that's behind, it's one thing if you're behind and you have Void, and you're like, don't worry, boys. One more play, a couple of more situations, we can turn this all around. When you're 27k gold behind the Faceless Void, yeah, the game just feels much more difficult than it should.
No, it doesn't feel good. These heroes are starting to get their level 25s as well. Now, Poison Touch is a death sentence if it's
Oh my
on you
God.
after BKB, or you have to be Weaver, and then maybe you can play the game. Arms has his refresher. Now he's just working on a buyback for himself. Eventually, Old White's just going to get 25, and then he can't be slowed or rooted during trample, and then suddenly, well, we've got a big problem. We've got a bunch of big guys running around, causing chaos, and they're trying to base trade. The Zeus and the Weaver are not in the base. I mean, they're doing their best here, but Team Rocket are saying, we'll do it faster, we'll do it slow. If you want, we'll do this Dark Willow push, the most obnoxious thing in the entire game, but it'll work.
Yep. Team Rocket doing their best impression of Vin Diesel in Fast and Furious 3. They've got nothing but time right now. They just chilling. No rush. No pressure. In fact, Arms, oh my god, with the Silver Edge, he's gonna find I Annihilate. I Annihilate is so dead. So aggressively dead. Oh my goodness. Feels bad to be you, my friend.
No, at least Fear looks like he's going to be able to successfully TP, but let me check. Yeah, no Zeus. Even though he has buyback in 5 seconds here, he's just short on the gold. He just is not in the place where he wants to be. His hero's just not doing enough right now. I think he bought a Blink Dagger, was probably his last purchase, just to try and upgrade his positioning in these team fights. And that's a Wind Waker on the Dazzle. So suddenly, those heroes that you weren't killing because they're getting graved are now also going to get Wind Wakered off cooldown. So, I mean, welcome to late game Dota versus Dazzle Faceless Void.
Honestly, in my mind, it's a statement of intent. The fact that he decides to finish the Wind Waker before going for a Hex. Looking at the game and being like, I don't actually need additional control. If I just keep my team alive, we win every fight by de facto. And honestly, not wrong at this estimation. And there it is, first usage of the Wind Waker on an ally. There's the heals, Uproar. Old White was actually in zero danger despite being on the high ground surrounded by 4 heroes.
He does eat a lot of damage, but that's all it is. It's damage. It's healable. We reset. The only thing that's running out right now on Team Rocket is Old White's mana pool, but otherwise, he's chilling. He's got to cheese whenever it is actually time to play. But they continue in. Arms is just waiting for an opportunity. He knows there's at least a hero to the right here. They're going to try to flush him out.
Going for Jenkins right now. They will be able to draw out the Primal Roar, and there's going to be the Shallow Grave enabling the cheese out. And Jenkins falling very low, but he's opening up space for the Chronosphere. Catches Phoenix and the Zeus. Ice Blast on top of it, giving Arms the double kill. Neither hero has buyback. And that should honestly be not just a lane of racks in the bottom lane, but probably the game overall, ET. I do not see a comeback here. They forced to pop BKB from Jaeger just to get back to the fountain. But Arms can make that aggressive jump with zero threat to his own life. In fact, he jumps in and is going to threaten the lives of the Fast Studios heroes. Both of them will end up dead. Sanctified this time will claim the double kill. And they do get him up into the air, but Weaver definitely does not have the damage to actually find this kill. The buyback from Jaeger, soon to turn into a dieback. Pulverize with the extended duration, turns into a cold feet, and then into a kill. There's 3 heroes on the deck. No buyback for any of them, and the 2 that are available, there's no way they can beat back 5 heroes on their lonesome.
No, they did just get the Rapier though on Fear. It's something to play for, and right now, they're looking for that Dark Will, and Sanctified does get popped, but what else can you do? Jenkins looks like he's going to be
Fear of
dying
Darkness,
next.
trying to carry this game right now. Putting on a young man performance. He almost killed off Arms, but unfortunately, we had the Ice Blast landing with the Cold Feet. That will enable them to bring down the Weaver, take away the Rapier, and secure game number 1. GG, well played as called. Team Rocket, they're blasting off again, but they're blasting away the Dire Ancients as they secure the first game and set themselves up to continue in the qualifiers for Kuala Lumpur.
It's a beautiful game from Team Rocket, but also one of patience. They waited, they bided their time, they weren't really forced to the edge here. In Fart Studios' very momentum-based, tempo-based draft, just lost out on a few too many of those early timings. I think their game looks so much easier with just a few different choices in that early game, and You know, I still kind of want to be a hater on the Zeus. I just don't feel like it fulfilled the role that they needed in this game. It felt like they were playing without a hero that they sorely needed. In combination with Jenkins delaying the Blink Dagger, not having a hero that could simply go in, they had these one lanes and they had no outlet for it. They weren't able to press their advantage into Team Rocket. They weren't able to shut down the map. They weren't able to keep the lanes clean and clear. And then suddenly they're farming. They're getting ahead of you. They're staying out on the map longer than you. And even though you have that first early Aegis timing where you're able to at least get a tier 3 tower, that's all it ever was. That was the last time we saw Fart Studios on the aggressive. They had to wait. They had to be patient for pretty much the rest of the game.
Yeah. And it definitely didn't help that if you look at the Fart Studios lineup, you've got Beastmaster, you've got Phoenix, you've got Treant Protector, you have Zeus. Outside of the Weaver, all of these are heroes that do the bulk of their damage in a very short instance of time. Obviously, Zeus gets better at it with Phylactery down the stretch, but if you're playing with the enemy team, having Dazzle, buying Wind Wakers and things like this, and they can just elongate the game forever, yeah, you're not going to have a very good time. So, Fart Studios find themselves on the back foot right now in this series, and not only on the back foot, but staring down the cusp of elimination here in the closed qualifiers for North America. However, they can still bounce back and find their way back into the swing of things and maybe make a run all the way into the grand finals. We'll find out if Fear has one more road in him. Can he make it to one more land? We'll find out after a very short break. Fart Studios, Game 2 versus the side here of Team Rocket. Don't go anywhere. Snare and ET. We'll be back in a second.
Am I wasting time? 'Cause I'm already gone. So long. Can you stay the night? 'Cause you're the thing I want. I know you're feeling different when you're stressed out. But even with no makeup, you still stand out. 'Cause no one makes me feel the way you do now. Like you do now. The way that you move your body, you make it look like a hobby. Every time that you touch me, it's electricity. Things we discovered underneath last night's covers. Everything came so easy. It's electricity. Electricity. Whoa. It's electricity. Electricity. It's electricity. When it's late at night, I feel you on my skin. My skin. You're all that's on my mind. It's finally sinking in. You're it. I know you're feeling different when you're stressed out. But even with no makeup, you still stand out. 'Cause no one makes me feel the way you do now. Like you do now. The way that you move your body, you make it look like a hobby. Every time that you touch me, it's electricity. Things we discovered underneath last night's covers. Everything came so easy. It's electricity. Electricity. Oh, it's electricity. Electricity. It's electricity. The way that you move your body, you make it look like a hobby. Every time that you touch me, it's electricity. Things we discovered underneath last night's covers. Everything came so easy. It's electricity. Electricity. It's electricity. You move your body. Electricity. You move your body. It's electricity.
Welcome back, one and all, here to the qualifiers from the NA region to try and get to ESL 1 in Kuala Lumpur, the first big major event of the new Dota season, the beginning of a new era, and of course the debut for many of the squads we're going to be seeing reconfigured after the TI shuffle. Right now, we're witnessing Ford Studios take on Team Rocket in an elimination game. The loser goes home, and so far, looking like Ford Studios, the crowd favorites, the people's champions, might be eliminated by Team Rocket. But there's still a couple of situations that can happen to keep them in the tournament, and we're going to be discussing them here. So follow me, myself, Snare, with the homie ET, the NA expert, the aficionado of the region. Talk to me, brother. What do they need to do on the side of Far Studios to get a foothold back into Game 2?
Step one, let's maybe hold out on the Zeus. No Zeus. Hold back. Give Annihilate a hero that he can actually help the rest of the lineup a little bit more. Because I think we fixed that, and then we got someone to play for. We got somebody to come around into these team fights, play in the chaos that Newsham and Jenkins are creating, or get a hero for Jaeger that will fulfill that role as well. Get him a Centaur, get him a Blink Carrier, get him a Magnus, see what gets through in that first phase, and then just punch it. Because if you're not picking up an Initiator in that first phase for Fart Studios, it just feels like it gets banned away, gets taken away from you, and then you don't have something to play for, and then the team just seems to fall apart. They have moments of great play where something clicks, they take a sick team fight, they get an amazing Hex, they can push you out of the wave, but it wasn't enough in Game 1. And okay, Team Rocket, switch things up, Bristleback, Kunkka. Something's changed, some things stay the same.
Yep. More things change, they stay the same. Alright, well, you did want some more activity from the side of our studios. And Kunkka doesn't completely fit the bill, but it is a bit more reliable team fight at the very least. Flexible hero, can be played in the mid or the off lane, as we've seen throughout the course of this day. In Team Rocket, I believe this is our first Bristleback game. It's been surprisingly ignored. Even when it's not been banned out, the teams have just not been picking it. Do you have any insight as to why that might be happening?
I really don't, because for a while in the beginning of the OQ, it was first phase banned all the time. It was completely devalued. So I'm not sure if Whisper cracked something, or maybe Whisper's the only one that can pull it off. Because I look at these pubs and I see everybody else in the world still playing Bristleback, still doing the build where you keep Bristleback at level 1 and you're this big problem hero. I don't know what the deal is in an A, because everybody else is still picking it. Everybody's still valuing it. And certainly Team Rocket are going to try to pull it off here. But already I'm satisfied, because if this does end up being Annihilate's hero, it's a stun, it's a play. It's something now that I think they need to double down on that boat combo, give him some more damage. Pick up the Tusk. I'm getting excited. They're finally drafting some more heroes to give themselves that initiative, something to play with. Now I can only hope that maybe they get a Dawnbreaker to pair it with at the end of this picking phase for Jaeger, and then I'm happy as a clam. I'm super satisfied. Whereas I think for Team Rocket, well, they've got to find a way to keep the heroes on top of that Bristleback. Need some more disable. It's where Grimstroke getting banned out from Fart Studios is kind of sting a little bit. He's easily the obvious choice. But now they just have to keep heroes around that Bristleback, and then you can see why this hero should probably be banned in every game.
Options to do that. Tusk would have been great, but taken away. And I guess it also helps a lot that they have the Kunkka with Tidal Wave to force the Bristleback to face them, to kill him easily. Now that they have Phoenix, do we not just follow this up with the Puck? I mean, the matchup, it's not as bad as like the Queen of Pain versus Kunkka matchup. I think you can still lane. You lose the matchup, but it's just not that bad on the Puck. Gives them that massive amount of team fight. And, the thing that you said, keeps heroes in a small radius to experience all the massive damage from these kills.
Yeah, it definitely feels like with the Dark Willow, they are going for that type of setup, even though Dark Willow versus Tusk is kind of a dual-edged sword. While you can get any hero that is in that snowball, let's say you're having to dodge something out, you can always use the Terrorize afterwards, or you get saved, always, with the Tusk, with the snowball. It's that give and take where Tusk can always pull you out of dodge, but at the same time, if you get another threat in front of you, then you get forced aside, then the Terrorize comes out, then you and your buddy are both screwed. It's a messy combo, but I think now you have these fragile supports laid out in front of you. Fart Studios just got to draft some killers. It's where, come on, get the Dawnbreaker. You've got back-to-back pick. The Treant's banned out, so The obvious Jenkins heroes are actually taken away. I think all 4 of his heroes are no longer in the pool, so he might get put on a B tier Jenkins hero, but hopefully something that he can at least keep his head above water. And maybe he's on the Tusk, because I'm
Seems
pretty
that
sure.
way. Oh, no, he's on the Pug
Or
now.
maybe not. Okay. Perfect.
But it
I
could
was
also
excited.
be I Annihilate Pugna and through the mid lane, which we saw a couple of times in TI. We do see every now and then in some of these pro games, not very often, but nonetheless, some curveballs, right? But I do imagine that it's unlikely they're going to reserve 24 pick for a 5 position, so this does seem the likeliest option for the Jenkins hero.
Yeah, which means that the Muerta ends up being most likely on Fear, which I'd love to see. I don't think he has played it in the qualifier so far. I want to say every time that this hero has been drafted up from Fart Studios, it's fallen into the hands of Nusham. And I could still see them running something slightly weird if they wanted to do a Tusk offlane or even a Jaeger Muerta in the offlane, but I don't want to get too weird. I think weirdness, as much as Fart Studios is known for it, is not what they should depend on in this game. You're playing versus a Bristleback. You need to keep some things going for you. You need to keep at least a little bit of momentum, hopefully coming from the lanes here. You've got Pugna Tusk. These side lanes should rock and roll. They should be able to get something going early on, go through those twin gates, shut down these heroes. Now the Pugna can at least gank the Bristles lane, but it's tough because now all of your stuns are on Kunkka, and there's Magnus. So
Yep.
Team Rocket get even more team fight.
Oof, they're definitely blasting off in this one. I was just checking. Fear has played a solitary game of Professional Muerta. It was in these qualifiers, and there was a win a couple of days ago in the open side of things. But not a lot of tape to go on. Magnus, man, what a hero right now. You know, there's certain heroes in Dota that are just very hard to balance because their concept and by themselves make them either ridiculously broken when their numbers are tuned correctly, or just they fall to the wayside. It's these Bat Riders, these Magnuses, a lot of the Spirit heroes. When they tune properly, man, they're just so good. So we do not know exactly where the Magnus is going, but I presume this is going to be the mid Magnus for RRL, and they're still hoping for a hero to end the draft for the safe lane with. What do you think?
Yeah, I think versus Kunkka, seen that matchup many, many times. It goes both ways, but it always ends up being, can the Kunkka have enough Tidebringer trade damage onto the Magnus so that way he can't just skewer you under tower for free? Or do you skewer the Kunkka under tower, you body block him, you make your trades happen that way? It ends up being a pretty skill-based matchup, a very raw skill-based matchup where hopefully I Annihilate can put up some numbers here, because all I've seen him do in this qualifier is either turtle in farm or get clobbered by Bryle. It hasn't been pretty. It's where I want to see him perform. I know he can perform, and I also want the series to go to a game 3. I want to see what Fart Studios has in store for us. I'm sad, though, because Team Rocket are right on the money here with this ban. Dawnbreaker would have been perfect. It would have been the Dawnbreaker Tusk lane to shut down whatever carry. And now they have to play versus Spectre, a hero that is going to be prosecuted. Any hero paired with this Tusk is going to be very annoying to deal with. But what do you do to shut the Spectre out of the game? And how do you protect the rest of your lineup here? Because Muerta doesn't like playing versus Spectre. Spectre with a Blade Mail sits on top of you. 9 times out of 10, you just end up killing yourself. It's not pretty. It's where you need something to shut her down. You need something that gives you a little bit more resilience. Not like a pipe buyer, but something that gives you some pseudo heal. Oh, the Dawnbreaker pick would have been good, but gotta stop thinking about it.
And no Dawnbreaker for this game. I'm also somewhat perplexed by the final bans from Fast Studios, removing only mid heroes. It felt like Team Rocket were definitely going to go for a safe laner here. Let's see, what helps them to deal with Spectre that's still in the game? So there's 2 options, right? They can put the Kunkka in the offlane, have him there, pick up a different hero for the mid, or they can put Muerta support, Pugna mid, Kunkka offlane, and get like, I don't know. There's so many different things you can do, but I think it's just prioritize dealing with the Spectre. Of the heroes that are available in the pool right now, with 20 seconds to think about having to combat against the Spectre, what's still available? You don't want to pick Necro. Is there still Necro in the game? Maybe Necro, actually. I could see a Necro.
Hey, there you go. And let's see how they actually decide to slot it in, because I could see it going either way
Mid.
at this point.
It has to be mid. It has to be mid. I think Necro is way too slow otherwise. I feel like if they play this anything but mid, the game is already lost. Even carry, I don't think Necro works out. They're gonna put a carry off lane. GG, well played, dude. I'm not, I'm not even kidding. I feel like they need the levels on this Necro way too much. I guess the lane is super easy against what? You're playing Spectre Phoenix. As a Necro, having the backup of a Pugna, you're probably not that terrified of this lane, right? It should be fine overall, but man, the level scaling, they need this Necro to be like, do you remember at TI the way Somnus would play this Necro, or the way Quinn would play the Necro, where they play this as like the forward-facing anchor, always at the forefront of the fight, getting in initially, forcing things to happen. I'm not sure that can happen from the off-lane Necro, but I'm open to being proven wrong. What's your feeling about this Necro? Where do you lay right now, given the drafts before us, ET?
I think I'm pretty satisfied. I think that the Pugna is going to get wasted slightly here, just with how much magic damage is actually in Team Rocket's lane. But the reason they pick it, it's going to click. It's going to force you to the sides of the lane. It's going to be able to trade for the Lotuses. It's going to do what it needs to do. And even though I think the lane middle is going to be a little bit annoying, Annihilate has to tread carefully. If he gets skewered under tower, we're going to have problems. Maybe they're slightly afraid of that matchup, because even though you can always, you W out, you Ghost Shroud, if you get skewered under tower, Necro is a extremely slow hero, so perhaps they're just afraid of that constant skewer threat that RL would probably put him under. But yet again, Annihilate goes into a draw lane, and they have to win with it. He has to get something out. He cannot lose. He cannot idle. He has to show up, and he has to put out. And, well, he's on Kunkka. He's on one of the best heroes in the patch to do such. We just got to see those numbers. But again, I think Fart Studios, even though their backs are against the wall at this point, it's probably the most convincing draft I've seen them put up so far in the qualifier.
You know, ET, unfortunately, Annihilate might have been putting out a bit too much today, so hope he stops. You know, he's a bit more chaste in terms of how he plays out this mid lane matchup. But nonetheless, they do need this to go very, very well, because if they lose, Fart Studios is out of these qualifiers and have no road to Kuala Lumpur. Let's find out what they're able to do in the second and all-important game for themselves. I do also find it quite interesting the fact that they've decided to put Jenkins on this Tusk. I mean, we have seen 5 Tusk earlier today from Whitemon, and that worked out amazingly. You know, maybe that's where he was like, yeah, let's try this out. But for the most part, in recent times, we haven't seen that much 5-position Tusk. It's been consigned very much into being a position 4 hero. What do you make of the 5 Tusk overall, based on what we've seen earlier today and what it can do in this game?
I think it goes to just Fear wanting to have some more physical damage to pair alongside his passive, but also Jenkins has just kind of proven that he's the one that goes through the twin gates. He's the one that ends up rotating in the lanes just a little bit more, where I think Nusham naturally plays as a greedier position 4. So I think knowing that Jenkins is just going to be rotating more, let him play the hero that allows him to rotate. But also, I want to see him show up at these mid runes. I want to see him get more involved versus the Magnus's game. So that way we feel a little bit more of that support presence. It's where the best teams of the tournament so far, they have such a good grip on that mid lane, and it affects everywhere else by how well they have that under control. It's just something that I think a lot of these lesser teams have just kind of thrown by the wayside. Would love more of an emphasis there.
We're going to see how all of this pans out as we are now entering into our second and all-important game. The bell is sounded, or the horn is sounded rather. Bottom, we have this Muerta Tusk lane, which, especially in the earlier portions of the game, it's pretty dangerous, you know? I can imagine some level 2 combo with calling Deadshot. It's a lot of damage. So they definitely need to be careful on the side of Team Rocket how they approach this, especially before the Bristleback is super tanky, because these days, it's not like the olden days where, you know, you max out Bristleback passive. You know, the Collapse build or the Zai build, you only put 1 point into this thing, you know? Then you build everything else up.
Yeah, I mean, you end up being a bully in a different way. I think the real danger zone is whenever they're near that tier 1 tower, creeps die, you nuke them out, you force them out of their tower with the dead shot, and then you got a pretty dangerous situation on your hands. But until that can transpire, and again, we see a Muerta in the Radiant side of the map, so there's just a few less trees to bounce them around, so it's slightly harder to make that play happen, but should be fine. Look at this mid lane. Tiptoes. Gotta be so careful. does not want to start losing these trades early. Annihilate gets level 5 in an easy fashion, then he can play the game. Gets skewered under the tower too many times, doesn't get boots fast enough, that's where Magnus can start to run away with things.
Okay, I know you told me before that Earth Spirit cannot lose the mid lane, but bro, Kunkka cannot lose the mid lane. It is actually not possible.
One would hope.
I don't think it can be done, bro. Like, it's Kunkka. Kunkka right now. Fear, though, doesn't have to worry about a Kunkka just yet as they find the first blood onto Old White. We're talking about the danger potential at level 2, and guess what? At level 2 is when they manage to find their kill. Bristleback caught in between Sanctified trying to get some positive lane equilibrium. And that ends up being a huge injection of gold for Fast Studios.
Yeah, just a little bit of greed as well from Sanctified. Neither him or Old White bought any regen in that lane. They've been really starving themselves. A little bit odd, but just means that they're trying to greed out for items like the Ring of Health or even just the boots. But this top lane, it's doing what it needs to do. They are clicking. It's what their heroes are so annoying. They've got those stupid green projectiles. They're so fast. Extra pressure on these heroes. You can really feel it on the Phoenix right now. Courier Snipe as well. Feeling pretty nice here. But every last hit should be damage that Arms has to take. Everything should be very, very annoying for the Spectre.
I must say, even though I'm not a fan of the Necro in the offlane position overall right now in this patch, for this game, in the laning phase at the very least, whew, this is very, very oppressive. It'll be quite hard for them to deal with. And it's going to curtail the progression of the Spectre by quite a bit. Do you still, given how badly your lane is going to go, can you afford to go for the Radiance shot, or are we going to be going for more of this Blade Mail type of style?
I think you just have to go for the Blade Mail because eventually you end up finding that ultra value versus Muerta and Kunkka where you can just kind of take them out if you're in the fight long enough. But you are going to have to play slower. It's where Jaeger can kind of do whatever he wants with his item build. You can only imagine we'll see him go for just the typical Boots of Travel into Heart Ags, but it takes a lot of gold. It takes a lot of time. I just want to see a few less Midases in the team. Look at this. Doesn't get the final quill.
Oh my gosh, doesn't get the final quill, will end up dead as a result. Fear getting the kill, and now it's also going to threaten the life of Sanctified. He can't find the vision onto Fear. They've got dead shot in a second. He can't lay it off in time. He gets brought down, and now there's a risk of Sanctified finding a double kill, and he does do it, taking out Jenkins with a Shadow Realm hit. Sanctified outplaying the entirety of Fast Studios. And yes, they killed the Phoenix on the other side of the map, but my goodness, this is demoralizing for their prospects going forward.
No, just got the right fog, just messed around with one too many trees. Fear just stopped juking just long enough, doesn't get the shot, makes the kill messy. I think with the shot and the shards from the Tusk, at least they would have gotten a trade, but worst case scenario, at least top lane spills over where they finally got these heroes without any regen, but not what you wanted. At least none of those kills, none of that gold, none of that XP goes the way of the Bristle. That's the only bright side.
Well, another bright side is that top lane, they are punishing the Spectre. Arms only has 8 CS to his name. Really struggling to have any kind of positive impact on this map at the moment. Be able to stack the small camp, farm it later with the dagger, but right now, Jaeger is the king of this top side of the map, and they've also brought in Jenkins. Like you said, he's the one that goes through the twin gates, so he's going to make the rotation. They're looking to try and bring down Arms. If Solo was in this region, he would be so proud right now, but they don't have the control, they don't have the lockdown. Arms able to juke away from this, and now they bring in reinforcements. Nusham, he's able to dodge away from the skewer of the Magnus, but will still end up dead from RRL. In the meantime though, Roseanne trying to get away from Jenkins, the Fire Spirit's keeping him alive, and he does end up dead, but that enables a 2-hero RP from RRL. The dagger goes through them both. They've killed off one, the other's about to get taken down. Jenkins delaying the inevitable, but inevitability will arrive as 3 heroes take a tumble. The Spectre ends up living. RRL gets a massive assist bonus from making the first rotation in this game, and all of a sudden Team Rocket looking ascendant in the earlier portion despite a very interesting laning phase for them.
Yeah, just perfect. Gets the levels, gets enough for RP after that Pugna kill, and then just spirals out of control. They weren't ready for that play. You can't really be ready for that play. You don't expect your teammate to tip the Magnus over, but at the same time, where is the Kunkka? When is Annihilate going to make his presence known? As soon as RL shows up back mid, he knows that there's no TP, there's nothing in that sort, so if he wants to get active, he totally can. Good damage traded bottom lane, but...
What? Did Sanctify jump in front of the dead shot to block dead Worldwide from taking it? That's actually you. With Shadow Realm, so he knows he will not die. That's actually pretty sick. Well done.
And look at this. They're going to try and push forward for that Wisdom Rune, but Jenkins knows this is a little bit crazy. He's going to try for it regardless, though, but yeah. Thinks better. Values his life a little more, maybe.
ET, a little bit crazy. Have you met Jenkins, bro?
Well... He doesn't want to die. He doesn't want to die. His teammates are telling him, just don't die, dude. Just be chill. Come on.
Daddy, chill.
Be chill.
Daddy, chill. The chill one, trying to go for Roseanne right now, will force out the Icarus dive. But just good enough to force out the dive. He's chilling. In the meantime, though, the rest of the squad is able to secure the tier 1 tower in the top lane. Annihilate made the rotation, unable to get the kill, but still gets the bonus gold of the tower. I'm pretty sure his team was just like, alright bro, we couldn't find anything for you, here's the consolation prize.
Yeah, and he'll take it. It's okay. Still ramping forward, does miss out on a little bit of XP in the mid lane. Something that I wish that Fart Studios would do a little bit more is just when Annihilate does decide to rotate out, just having that seamless person to come in, get the levels that they need, especially on these supports. Both Newsham and Jenkins are definitely getting their XP a little bit slower than I think they themselves would like, but they're getting there. And now, huge Necro. You want to start moving Jaeger across the map. You don't want to give any space to the Spectre, but at the same time, you want to get probably those Boots of Travel and then follow it up by just running around into Magnus's lane. They want to keep this pressure up. I think Jaeger's got a beautiful start. Hopefully, goes for the Travel Heart build. Honestly, could see him turn around for a Blade Mill if he really wants to get kind of weird with it, but I just think you keep things simple. Just keep it easy. That's a Radiance. That's not simple. That's damage, but this team, they make these choices and they drive me crazy.
Oh, Rads. If I'm honest though, if you're playing Necro, this is the most fun build, so I cannot knock him for it. It's like, alright man. You just enjoy the game.
Live your life, yeah. Live your life. Do your thing.
Right now, Team Rocket not far away from living their own lives as Magnus about to finish off the Blink Dagger. He's farming it up in the trees at the moment. Not far away from having it. RL are feeling good, but at the same time, a fight breaking down in the bottom lane. Both will connect onto this Dark Willow. She's inside the Shadow Realm.
Oh.
But that will not protect her indefinitely as she does end up dead. The dive away from Phoenix at the very last second took an absurd amount of damage, and Jenkins is trying to chase for this. Both Phoenix and Bristleback are in jeopardy of dying here. Need to be careful about the positioning. Jenkins hoping to bait in an errant movement, and he has done so. Phoenix hasn't retreated in time, so Roseanne will be dead here.
Oh.
A little bit of time being bought. The Decrep actually keeping the Phoenix alive, eventually gets the kill. But with the life drain, they also managed to bring down the Bristleback. RP connecting onto the Kunkka as reinforcements now arrive from Team Rocket. They do not get the tier 1 tower either, so Fart Studios maybe overplaying their hand a little bit down bottom and drawing much unneeded attention and decrying their potential to push down bottom.
No, they expected to be able to stick around behind that tower just a little bit longer than they ended up being able to. It's a great skewer. It's a great rotation from RRL. He's already got a Blink Dagger, so these heroes have got to be careful. I was going to say, I don't even know if they know about it. Not with the way that Newsham was standing just now. That was a very sketchy situation that he was able to walk out of just now. But I Annihilate, okay. Want some revenge here? Oh!
Okay. They drag in this Tusk, and now they're going to be able to blink past him, skewer him into the tier 1 tower. Jenkins got you baited, but Jenkins will be saved as Roseanne ends up dead. The Nether Ward and the blast from Newsham doing the work. Very nicely done by Fart Studios, and despite the fact that they are being punched in the nose often by Team Rocket, they are playing with much more tenacity in Game 2, ET, than they showed in Game 1.
No, and now trying to abuse their vision advantage here. Still very close to the tower, but they know there's no RP, so they can really afford to do this. Blade Mill pops, still running forward. No shard follow-up, but the objective is the tower. If they can still exist out here, Jaeger showed up, they keep the card alive, and hope they maintain this early game lead.
By the way, do you think Coco Rum should still exist as a mechanic for the Ghost Ship? I feel like
Absolutely
this
not.
is...
Nope.
Yeah, it's too good, dude. Holy shit. With
Purge
everything
it.
that makes this hero
Let it
phenomenal.
go. Make it
Yeah,
last
just-
like 10 seconds less or something, you know? There's
No,
so
just
many
take
ways
it
they
out.
could make it worse.
Just take it out. I don't even know why it's there. Like, how many other AoE abilities also give positive buffs to the team that is costing them?
You know, the best part is, half the player base doesn't even know what it does. They just see it and they're like, why am I dying? It hurts.
My God. Everybody at home, if you see Kunkka cost Ghost Ship, wait out the full 10-second duration before you attack him again, because otherwise there's no point. 15% damage reduction. You know, I'm sure there's someone in chat, 15% is not that much. Yeah, remember how Wraith Pact broke the game? Yeah, that tells you what damage reduction can do in Dota.
And take a look at this. Smoke, setup, looking for fear. This would sting.
Fear of Darkness getting caught. He throws out the calling, but there's no way for them to save him in time. Oh, maybe not. The life drain from Newsom. He's outside of the range of the Supernova. So they might be able to turn this fight here, ET. The Supernova has already popped. So Roseanne has no further defense for himself. He ends up dead. RP, though, committed by RRL. They will be able to bring down Fear, but it's not going to come for free, as they're all now going to aggress onto the Magnus, killing him off as well. Annihilate throughout the Ghost Ship wasn't necessarily needed to bring down the Magnus, but he will provide the necessary vision to bring down Sanctified, who's trying to escape, but that escape attempt will be futile. Dragged back in, caught inside the eye shot, doing the TP thing, and he's actually going to succeed. The torrent takes too long. Somehow, some way, Sanctified gets out, but they do find the big prize. Fear picked off in the bottom lane, but in a very, very, very representative sample of the scrappy-ass game here, ET, it cost them a lot on the side of Team Rocket.
Yeah, and despite it all, they end up ahead in the gold exchange. They get more out of it. And ARMS, I think, importantly, just doesn't care, just sticks around. This is a little bit crazy, though, and they know with that tier 1 up, Magnus is coming. I'm not even sure if they saw him there, even though daytime vision's fantastic. Just feels like too much of a dive, and they should feel those danger signs. That would have been at least a kill onto the Kunkka if RL was able to nab him. But they really have to keep their foot on the gas here. Art Studios can't afford to let up. Every minute that they do, it's another minute that this Midas Spectre is getting back in the game. She was below the Pugna, then she was a little bit ahead of the Pugna. Now she's on even footing with the Muerta. It's not what you want to see. It's where ARMS is going to continue to force these plays out with the rest of his team and then try to escape. It's where Annihilate especially catch him with the X mark. One of the few heroes that can really punish the Spectre. Look mid. It's messy. Doesn't want to go under tier 2.
It's Gucci. A-okay for now. And there's no reason for them to hyper-aggress. That being said, RL might not be in the same boat. He blinks away just in time before he gets caught by the X. Unfortunately, Roseanne not going to be as lucky. And that's going to be providing Jaeger with some bonus stats. The first Reaper Scythe kill of the game. So Team Rocket, they lose a Phoenix, but in the grand scheme of things, the important thing is that they are finding farm on the Midas Spectre, like you mentioned. Completing the Blade Mail, we isolated before, but also queuing up the Radiance, so not expecting this game to be extremely chaotic in the next 10 minutes or so. Backing himself to be able to find the farm necessary to finish off the full burn of damage.
Yeah, and of course, versus Muerta, it's very valuable having the added evasion. It doesn't exactly make you any tankier, but look at this team fight. Trying to get some revenge here for Newsham. Though, right now...
There's no way, dude. There's no way. You're actually taking this fight? Okay. He's going in. I Annihilate. There's now a Supernova right behind them into a 2-hero RP. Supernova about to pop on Jenkins as well as on I Annihilate. And both of them get killed. E.T.? I'm calling home. I'm trying to find out what the hell just happened here.
It's so forced. It's so forced. They lose Newsham. They don't get the Tidebringer hit on Sanctified because of Shadow Realm. It's just them trying to make plays happen where they don't need to. The good news is that the Muerta and the Necro did not look anywhere. They decided to just farm. They did not look at that mid-fight. They didn't TP in. They didn't decide to add fuel on the fire, but they gotta chill out. they're in a good spot. They were in a good spot. These unsuccessful plays are mounting, though. The Spectre is farming. You're not getting any more gold in return. You're not getting a play onto RRL. It's where Fart Studios is just not cleanly getting onto any next objective. It's where at least Jaeger switched up his build. He's just simply going for a heart next, but does not want to give up his life now, and Old Light will actually scare him off before that play can happen, even though that Bramble was dangerously close.
Very, very close, but it does not connect. So we should see the escape coming in, and they're actually going to smoke up themselves from Far Studios, hoping to try and isolate the Spectre. There was an observer ward planted out. They did scout the Spectre farming. The question is, will they be able to catch her in time? She's right on top of a camp at the moment. She doesn't know that this gank is approaching. The thing is, there's no Blink Dagger just yet on Jenkins. Just like in game 1, they're going to struggle with initiation, but they're going to be able to find it. X, no! I Annihilate doesn't have the vision. It's nighttime. Oh, no, dude. This is terrible. But at the same time, because it's nighttime, Spectre didn't see the Kunkka, so they might be able to still make this happen. They're going for it. Torrent's already been used, but with the Ghost Ship, the Life Drain, they might be able to find this kill. Not just yet. The Spectre, she's still alive. Sunray keeping her up as well. The Skewer past this Pugna. The Pugna can't finish off the job. At the same time, there's a Terrorize to zone back the rest of the team as they kill off the Pugna. There will be a Reaper Scythe to bring down Old White in this situation. However, with the Supernova being popped down and the Haunt, Kunkka ends up dead as well. So the person who was being ganked ends up being one who kills and finishes off enemy targets as Spectre finds a double kill. Arms gets even more gold. And the path to the Radiance gets even shorter as Team Rocket. They don't blast off again, but they strike back again. And once more, Fast Studios cannot keep up.
No, they're just using their spells too quickly, too committal. They don't have the damage. They don't get the Reaper Scythe onto the Spectre. That's the way that she would have gone down easy, but the Terrorize just separates the fight. It splits the Necro off from everyone else. And even though he still ends up getting something in the Bristleback kill, it's just fight after fight of scrappy, messy Dota, which Spectre loves. She loves the resets. She loves to barely get away. She TPs to Fallon, and then she still ends up getting 2 more kills. She's still accelerating. And you wonder, is this core matchup going to be good enough for Fear? Is he going to be able to carry? He's going to have to turn his bow into a Silver Edge eventually, and then probably get a Satanic after, and then hope that he can do anything versus Spectre. It's where Arms is just in a much calmer position to play Dota. I think, really, at this point, we just got these Aghanim Scepters to play around, to look forward to, on both the Necro and the Kunkka. And then, well, maybe that script flips. Maybe we finally have enough team fight. Maybe we've got something to actually play against here. But for now, it feels like Team Rocket are getting away with murder. And RRL, DD Rune, Harpoon, looking in the triangle right now for anyone. And they would love the Necro.
Oh, they're gonna find him. He just used a piggy pole as well. Not gonna be able to get out that easily. They ping him out. They know where he's at, but the Magnus has already skated by. Wow. Jaeger will never know how close he came to death. And with no Kunkka to provide the 50% debuff, or buff rather, of damage, would definitely have been bursted there. But it's still alive. But Team Rocket gonna attempt again. Try to use the last moments of the smoke. They're not gonna connect onto anything though. So now the question is, what do they need to do next on the side of Fast Studios? Yes, they are scaling, but can they fight once they finish off the Silver Edge for this Muerta to at least break the Bristleback and the Spectre in the engagements?
Yeah, I think that's the bare minimum. It's easily the biggest thing they're waiting for right now, alongside their Aghanim Scepters, but you then have to play versus full Radiant Spectre. You then have to play versus, honestly, probably Spectre and the workings of a Manta style. And it looks like they're going to try to force Roche, which is a pretty nifty play. With the tag team, with Muerta, it's not like it's impossible. Pierce the Veil, making it go even faster. And it looks like, as of right now, Team Rocket are not going to be able to connect, at least not before Fart Studios is going to have quite the idea of what's going on here. So this Roche is free. They are going to get away with this one.
The Roche, the trade-off is going to be completing pretty much the Radiance for the Spectre, but certainly a trade that they will be happy to get away with. Keeps some Muerta alive, gets closer to the Silver Edge. Still have a very competitive game on our hands, but it does feel a little bit more difficult for Fast Studios to connect on their moves. I mean, just simply due to this global presence of the Spectre. But still, things are okay. Things are fine. I Annihilate. How far is he from the Aghanim Scepter? It's about 1500 gold. Still very far away from the level 20, but eventually we'll get there.
Yeah. It's where, honestly, I wouldn't be too upset if he ended up going back for a Midas, which...
Midas?
I know I said I didn't want, but at the same time, if this game's going to really slow down, you know, why the hell not? But I think Elimination do not want to go out here. They're just going to try to pull out all the stops. Jenkins not going for the Midas on the Tusk, just feels like he can actually save people with this Blink Dagger and be that initiator that his team needs. Even though, you know, now that Aghanim Scepter is going to seem like an eon away, it's something for them to do. But Silver Edge almost completed up on Fear, still utilizing quite a bit of the map. They still have this House Ward top as well, so if they want to, smoking towards that tier 2 top is a great move for Fart Studios. Get some immediate tower pressure onto the map. It's probably their best forcing move if they can't get any picks bottom. Mid though, this has never worked.
Kunkka might end up dead. Oh no, 2 heroes get skewered, but RL messes up the RP combination. It might not matter though. They have so much damage that they just kill off Jenkins nonetheless. And it looks like the Kunkka might suffer a similar fate. Sunray burning him down, but still, he's being kept alive by the life drain. Unfortunately for him though, Sanctified has the massive damage coming out from the Shadow Realm. Spectre also able to go in and finish off Nusham. They lose the Bristleback, sure. Gets Reapered, indeed. But in exchange for 3 enemy heroes, you will take that trade any day of the week as Team Rocket.
Oh, no, every time that Fart Studios comes to this mid lane, comes to this area of the map, it just feels like they get picked apart by the Magnus. And I don't know if that was a precast RP. I know he got disjointed with the tidal wave, which made that seem very weird, but it's still on top of Brambles. It's still on top of RP. It's still on top of the egg. It doesn't end up mattering. And again, Arms just feels none of the repercussions of those misused spells. It just doesn't matter. He shrugs it all off. He loses a Bristleback. Old White's not the main driving force of this team right now. He hasn't been pretty much the entire game. You can see his net worth kind of reflecting his position of said game. But Arms and RRL, they're killing it. Farming everything. They're keeping their head above water. It's them versus Jaeger at this point.
Well, Old White, he might not be the focal point of this game, but he can still present some danger as he ends up killing off Nusham with the Quill Sprays. And they might want to go for more. Tidal Wave dragging back Jenkins. The Skewer ensuring that he's positioned in front of the tier 1 tower. Both supports are gone. And look where the Bristleback is at. Old White zoning back the rest of the squad. Arms able to jump in onto the Kunkka. And the Coco Rum comes a little bit too late. Even though Arms falls very low, they're not actually able to kill him off. Man, do you wish there was a Necro nearby with Reaper Scythe, but that is not the case. 3 heroes fall, nothing is gained. Team Rocket just continue to accrue more and more of a lead in game 2. And top lane, the Necro, is he gonna die, dude? Yep, RP, Shockwave, RP, it's there. He's dead, he's gone. This is their most farmed hero and he dies like it's nothing.
No, and he just Reaper Scythed RRL, who just got a Lincoln Sphere, completely shrugged it off. That's 2 minutes on the deck for that spell. None of these trades are working out right now for Fart Studios. None of these are fights that Fear wants to play in. He is going forward now. They're trying to get a play going here on Old White, perhaps, and it looks like, yeah, that's going to be the play in. Well, they do get him. 3 shots him. Gotta love Muerta for that, but okay. Yeah, that's all they got going right now.
Now we don't have Pierce the Veil. Pierce the Veil is down. We'll see how they continue to take this fight. Sunray going out from the Phoenix on the high ground. Skewer forward by RL, but he's already committed the RP. That being said, though, Muerta might find herself losing her first life. There comes Spectre.
No.
Finding the backlines, eliminating Nusham. The Supernova does go off. It doesn't pop on top of the Muerta, but it's not gonna matter. They drag her back. Bedlam right on top of her face with the Spirit Vessel. And that is it. She is dead. She is gone. Fear is removed from play, giving away almost 1,000 gold in the process. And they're not done just yet. Harpoon back onto Jaeger, dragging him back into the Team Rocket lineup. And the Jaeger does manage to get away with the Death Pulse for now. And they actually ignore him. They're going to go towards Jenkins on the left-hand side instead. They kill him towards the west. No buyback available. And ET, it's one thing if you're fighting around the enemy ancients. It's quite another when the enemy still has a tier 1 tower available, but you just do not care. You're that much stronger than they are.
Yeah, you're tankier, you're more confident, all of your heroes are extremely robust, even though everybody almost died to the Tormentor just now, but they steal your Tormentor away from you. These Aghanim Scepters are not getting accomplished. I think Fart Studios just decided to take a few bad fights at the worst possible time, where they have these big items, they have the components of these big items, and they just never take a step back, decide to cut their losses, finish something to give them a little bit of a power spike. And now you're playing versus Bloodstone, Ags, Bristleback, RRL is off to the races. The Spectre is now a huge problem. She's got Manta, she's going to go for a tanky item now, and then it's just tanky hero after tanky hero after tanky hero. Your only targets then are whether or not you can kill Sanctified and Roseanne before the fight gets off, but one has Shadow Realm and the other has Egg. So who really are you bursting in this game?
Harpoon. Well, I can tell you who's getting bursted. It's Jenkins. Trying his best not to, delaying things with a snowball, but it is only a delay. This is the epitome of borrow time as he does end up dead. There was a boat also committed by I Annihilate. They should be able to finish off the Bristleback though, so this is a worthwhile trade for Jenkins. Getting an obscene amount of gold for Jaeger. And RL was thinking about finding the angle for the RP. Doesn't even need it. Harpoon skewer back onto the Kunkka. And there's a supernova drop down. They really need to destroy this egg, but their terrorize stops them from doing it. It bursts in front of their faces. They're all gonna get stunned up. And with the Spectre in front of their faces, they're all gonna get burned to pieces. 3 heroes have fallen. A 4th is about to fall to the wayside as Necro gets taken out. Even the Kunkka could not escape, chased down by the RRL Magnus. And that turns into a team wipe. Old White will definitely give up his life for that cause any day of the week. It gives his team a massive advantage, a tier 2 tower, and honestly, ET, I'm thinking that might have just given them the game because Team Rocket just seem unstoppable in this game number 2.
Oh, and you take a look at all of the vision in this area, you see all of these high ground wards, they see everything, and Fart Studios just ram their heads over and over again in this area, in their own triangle. They feel like they need to be able to win a fight here, but they don't get the high ground, they don't get the wards, they don't get the vision, and they can't fight anywhere here. But they keep on trying, and through trying, it feels like they're throwing their game away. At least the Necro was able to finish up his Ags before that fight went down, so he didn't have any unreliable gold to lose, but I don't know. I feel like they almost need to get lucky now in that next engagement. They need to find Fear finding the break onto the Spectre instead of Old White. They're sick of killing the Bristleback. It's too easy at this point. They need to actually get a core kill on either RRL or ARMS. Otherwise, I can't envision that comeback happening right now. There's just too many things playing against them. Even Roche doesn't want to come out and play, give them a little cheeky play to smoke for, and try and get an Aegis for Fear again. Nothing's really coming up Fart Studios.
1 death on RRL, 0 deaths on ARMS. And ARMS actually pops the ultimate. Was thinking about just jumping onto Nushim. Nushim might just heads up die just from the Radiance burn. Gonna be forced to Glimmer Cape up just to remain alive in that situation. That's where this game is at right now. And unfortunately, you were mentioning this Necrophos. Yes, he might have finished off the Aghanim Scepter. Doesn't lose reliable gold, but he's very far from having Lotus Orb or BKB. Which means that if he gets silenced by ARMS, he is just 100% dead. Surrounded by these Spectre illusions. They are gonna try to take a fight down bottom. But all they found is a Dark Willow who might not even die in the situation, and she's still alive. And they can't pursue further. Magnus is not in vision. So next thing they know, they just get RP'd, but Magnus went into a calling, but he still manages to skewer out the Necrophos Supernova on the high ground as the Tusker goes in with the snowball. They will find the RP onto 2 heroes. It will enable them to kill both Jaeger as well as the Jenkins Tusk. That being said though, Fear is here with the Pierce the Veil, has been able to eliminate these heroes. He's melting down the Spectre. He's almost killing off the Bristle. He does not finish the job, but the rest of his team does. Kunkka survives on a sliver of HP, but they finally take a good team fight. Pierce the Veil Muerta with Gunslinger going everywhere does an absurd amount of damage. And you wanted them to use the Silver Edge onto the Spectre. It finally does happen, ET, and that enables Fart Studios to win a fight.
Oh, they got it. They completely disrupt the team fight. The waterworks go down. You don't have a terrorize coming through. And, RL's pinging it out. They skewer the Necro into the middle of 4 of them. That Aghanim Scepter, that Heartstopper, starts killing you. It hurts so much. It's why the build is double heart. And sure, maybe you're not able to confirm every kill Roseanne's able to squeak away, but at the same time, the survivors got so much. Fear gets 3 kills before he goes down. He almost wasn't going to die in that engagement. And well, a few more team fights like that, and Fart Studios absolutely back. It's where suddenly, okay, 16k down. Maybe we got a little bit more game to play for, and we're giving them credit for. But also, I think that all stems from RRL's immediate scuffed initiation. He can't afford to whiff like that. You can't just jump in, settle for a Necro, skewer them into your entire team, and then die for nothing. That type of Magnus play is going to make this real hard to play. And oh my god, Sanctified as a Wind Waker. Okay.
Okay, cool, chilled. I mean, also to make that initiation worse is that he blinked into a calling, so they had like 2-3 seconds to actually legitimately consider how they wanted to approach the fight. Made it way harder for Rocket than it had to be. And now they've just committed the ultimate from Spectre. I mean, the cooldown is nothing, but it's going to alert Fast Studios to the fact that the Roshan attempt is afoot. So this is going to be the site of the next big conflict. Magnus isn't here just yet, so if they take a fight right now, Fast Studios could overwhelm them with numbers, and they're trying to do so. Going in onto the Phoenix, unable to contain him though. And we look to the north. RL is coming in, scouts it out now by the creep wave. Roshan being taken. It's not yet on half HP. They don't take it the fastest on the side of Team Rocket, but they take it fast enough that it is a big concern for Fast Studios. Phoenix committing the initial Sunray. RP gets on the back lines. Look at that RP. It finds 3 heroes, all of them terrorized, all of them getting demolished. Team Rocket blast off with the Supernova, stunning up the Necrophos, preventing him from having any impact in this fight. And he's going to get killed off as well, granting Arms a double kill. We do see the double buyback emerging on the Radiant lineup as Fast Studios understand they can't give this up, but it's too late. They've already lost the Roshan. The cheese has been given up. Arms is trying to chase down the I Annihilate Kunkka. I Annihilate, can he do anything here? The Water Park is going, but the Water Park only just rains on them, but does absolutely nothing besides, because Roseanne is there with the Sunray, keeping them dry, keeping them fresh, keeping them healthy, and ensuring that they win 2 team fights. And Fear gets haunted in the middle of the base. Arms finding the Shadow Step directly onto the Muerta, killing her off, and ensuring that Team Rocket definitely are going to be taking this game too.
Oh, he just wasn't patient at all. He could have just invised his way out of that situation. The vision had faded from Arms, but kills himself on the Blade Mill. Decides, well, I'm going to go out with a bang. And, well, there's your glyph. You've got 2 lanes in. Arms is not the healthiest Spectre in the world, but at the same time, damage is here. It's just the supports on Fart Studios. And now, okay, TP's back, heals up. A cheeky kill on the old white. Nope, Wind Waker.
Oh, the Wind Waker, baby. And now we can go back in with the Bristleback, BKB, Bloodstone, dishing out all the damage. And in tandem with the Terrorize, both Jaeger and Jenkins die almost immediately. Newsom will not be long for this world either, as they don't even kill him. They just look around him as he dies passively from their overall damage. Fart Studios recognize that they cannot hang in this game. Their efforts go out in a whimper. It is a fart of an effort, and that enables Team Rocket to blast off into the next round of the competition as they win this 2-0 in extremely clean fashion.
No, it's so difficult. It's hard to commentate because it's like a dog chasing a car. It's Fart Studios winning their lanes, drafting these advantages, getting things going, and then directionless, where the mid game starts and they don't know where to go. They don't start finding those plays. It's where the heroes that seemingly are doing nothing are ending up more successful because their spells are connecting just a little more. They're getting more of a cohesive plan together. They're playing for their power spikes just a little bit faster than you. And Fart Studios, who is a new squad for a lot of their players, some returning, some staying the same, but they just didn't have enough time, I think, to get themselves polished enough for this tournament, which is sad to say, you know? And at the end of the day, they always get deniability, right? They always get to say, oh, it was for fun, you know? We played, we got as far as we could, it's whatever, you know? We're a content stack, but it does hurt a little bit. Because you do see them having moments of greatness where things are working, things are clicking, they're ahead at 10 minutes. It's in so many of their games and the matches that they play, and then it just starts to fall apart. Something that they certainly could fix, but whether they want to fix it, whether they have the time to fix it, those are all questions that they have to think about introspectively. Whereas Team Rocket, I mean, they did what they had to do. Very clean games on their cores. RL really only had one mistake the entire time. Supports itemized beautifully. Another great Phoenix game. I think Phoenix is the hero to really look out for. We didn't even get to see the Bristleback tested because all Old White did was tank deaths for the rest of his cores, and I mean, that worked out for him.
To be fair, it seems like Old White is just happy to play the old school offlaner, right? He's playing the sacrificial dead lane role, playing like he's into a trial or whatever. He'll be bottom 3, bottom 4 in net worth, but yet still having a massive impact in the midst of these fights, which is pretty good to see coming in from him. And with Fast Studios, you know, we can give an additional excuse. Just a couple of weeks ago, Fury and Jenkins weren't able to actually play Dota. They were busy running TI. So we'll give them a little bit of an excuse for that one. But nonetheless, excuses mean nothing when you are eliminated from the tournament. And sadly, that will mean that Fast Studios will no longer be proceeding in the closed qualifiers, and their tickets towards Kuala Lumpur have all been denied. Visas are blocked. They are going to be staying home, well, unless they pay their own way. And there's a TI winner on the team. I'm sure you can afford to fly the whole team over if you really wanted to.
If you really wanted to.
If you really wanted to. Maybe after that loss, you're looking around and you're like, really, boys? Seriously? That's how we lose? Really? Word? Okay. All right. I'll buy the tickets, but I'm giving you the invoice afterwards. Here's my Venmo address. Make sure you send me the money. Team, looking at this game though, I kind of feel like although we did see some kind of cool stuff coming in from Team Rocket, there's still a little bit of ways to go because the opposition that still remain in the upper bracket are fairly formidable. So we do not want to be in a situation where they just immediately fall down to the wayside. With that though, they are going to be proceeding into the second day of these closed qualifiers. The first team eliminated from these is going to be Fast Studios, the people's champion, our favorite, but the boys will no longer be playing. Before we close this out though, ET, I need an MVP from you, and I need a play of the game. What impressed you the most from the second game of Dota?
I mean, it's so simple, and I'll go for the play of the game first, but it's just the Wind Waker at the end there. It's a gut punch. It's the final nail in the coffin where everything is building up. You think you've got your opponents dead to rights, and then that happens to you. The guy, the Willow, that isn't going for the meme Midas Moonshard Ags build, just spits in your face, and then you lose like that. I mean, it hurts. It really, really hurts. But MVP, I think, for Team Rocket, honestly, probably just have to keep in line, give it to the carry player. I think really did exactly what he needed to do. Kept his head down, had a few suspect chronos in that first game that, you settle a lot of the times for chronospheres in these high pressure, high stakes games where you want to get anything if you're going to use that spell at all. It's very, very difficult to play in competitive play because of that fact. But otherwise, he did what he needed to do. He played a 51-minute Void game. He got the chronos. He built himself up perfectly. And then this game, same story. Nearly deathless game on the Spectre. If he ever was pushed to the edge, he would always have buyback to get himself into that fight. Just a very, very conscious carry player, and it shows. They didn't have to do very much, didn't really push themselves against the wall, but at the same time, didn't need to. He just kind of played simple, easy game.
Sometimes simplicity is much harder than doing something complicated, but doing simplicity well is the greatest feat of all. And of course, Team Rocket have managed to do so, and that's why they are still in these qualifiers. Stick around though until tomorrow because you'll be seeing them in action once more. But for today, we are done with the action here. So from myself, Snare, from the homie ET, our first time casting together, but it's been a blast tonight. I'm happy to be back doing NA. That's how the year started. I'm glad that's how the year is ending. And we're going to be seeing you tomorrow to continue the close qualifiers. Don't forget to drink water, call your mom, tell her you love her, and join us tomorrow for some more incredible Dota 2 action.
wasting time, 'cause I'm already gone. So long, can you stay the night? 'Cause you're the thing I want. I know you're feeling different when you're stressed out, but even with no makeup you still stand out. 'Cause no one makes me feel the way you do now, like you do now. The way that you move your body, you make it look like a hobby. Every time that you touch me, it's electricity. Things we discovered underneath last night's covers. Everything came so easy. It's electricity. Electricity. Whoa. It's electricity. Electricity. It's electricity. When it's late at night, I feel you on my skin. My skin. You're all that's on my mind. It's finally sinking in. You're it. I know you're feeling different when you're stressed out, but even with no makeup you still stand out. 'Cause no one makes me feel the way you do now, like you do now. The way that you move your body, you make it look like a hobby. Every time that you touch me, it's electricity. Things we discovered underneath last night's covers. Everything came so easy. It's electricity. Electricity. It's electricity. Electricity. It's electricity. The way that you move your body, you make it look like a hobby. Every time that you touch me, it's electricity. Things we discovered underneath last night's covers. Everything